What's going on, everybody? This is SafeWord.
Woo!
What happened?
Oh no, we lost Miss Sasha.
We lost Miss Sasha. What happened?
She got too excited. Happened to Sasha? I know she got too excited and just blop blop blowed herself off the screen.
Damn.
So hopefully she'll jump back in here. But go ahead and do your intro there, Mr. King.
I'm lost now. I don't know what to do.
Here she comes.
What's going on, everybody? This is SafeWord, a platform for teaching, learning, and opening the eyes of our audience to the world of kink, BDSM, and relationships. I am your host, Mr. Kane Marcos.
And I am your other host, Orora Storm. And we're going to wait for her audio to connect. We're going to wait. And then she's going to say who the heck she is.
And I'm your co-host, Miss Sasha Lencher.
Coming in with a dramatic entrance.
It glitched as soon as you said what? I said, whoa, hold on. We not paid the bills. I thought we didn't pay the bills.
I was right. No, because we was live. We were like, where the hell did she go?
And I'm your co-host, Miss Sasha Lencher.
All right. In our last video, we teased you with a little dancing gone wrong. Okay, I mean, it went real wrong. As the SafeWord crew took a stab at finding our positions. So if you have not checked out that video, you have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, well then you should go check out our video.
Or if you just want to see Kane make a damn fool of himself.
It was great.
It was good. I think it was
Go watch
amazing.
it. It's a reference.
It's good. So the name of the video is What's Your Position or / Finding Your Position. But if you don't want to search through all of our videos, because we've got a lot of content, I will drop that link to the video, our emails, our business inquiries, our social media outlets, and all of our personal information will be in the description box below.
And since you're here, you're enjoying, you're basking in it, go ahead and join the family. Click that like and subscribe button so you can stay tuned for all the educational content around kink, BDSM, and relationships.
Okay, Miss Sasha, I know that we need to say hi to somebody. So who we saying hi to tonight? Who we saying hi to?
I'm so honored today because I get to pass the torch. I get to, we have an A1, been ride or die, down like 4 flats on flapjacks. We just want to say hi to our friend. Everybody, 1, 2, 3.
Hey,
what up, boy?
So here's the deal. He is our #1 fan. He watches every show, every live, every video. He's a part of the Patreon. So if you want to get your shout out, you need to be like Roy and join the crew. All right? Join the crew. I'm shouting you out. Simple as that.
Show the love.
But Mr. Kane, do we have Miss Sasha?
Hot topics.
There it is.
Like we're not doing it. It's like
we're all off tonight.
We're committed. We're committed to it.
But we're here.
This is how I know we're committed. That's like when somebody says, "What are we?" It's like,
man, that retrograde is for real.
I know we are all off tonight. That's why we're starting a little late, and I'm sorry for that, guys.
Okay, sorry, Brother Kane.
Go ahead.
Oh no, like we just when we think we have everything together, like at the last minute, we realize everything that we have to still do. So
I mean, it wouldn't be SafeWord unless it got a little off the rails. Okay,
right?
Exactly.
But we run this shit. We don't answer to nobody. So
exactly.
All righty.
So you want to do your hot topic, and I am listening. Just give me 2 seconds. Go ahead and do your hot topics.
All righty.
Hit us with the hot topics. I'm gonna be quiet too. I'm gonna let you take the reins. Go ahead, sir.
I found a ton of shit. Man, I just want to talk to some of these guys out here that are doing dumb shit. And I just want to take this time to make a public safety announcement and just disclose some of the idiocies that are going on in, today's society. So that way all of you guys can know what to do and what not to do with your genitals. I mean, I'm a strong believer in not being able to tell another man what to do with his junk. But when it comes to getting your shit stuck in some random stuff, I'm here to tell you, there are certain things that you should and should not get your shit stuck in. So with all embarrassment, just in full force, I'm going to disclose some of these stories and you guys can all sit there and maybe take a second thought and think before you go and jam your shit into something that's not supposed to be in.
Oh, damn.
Listen,
all right. So
oh, damn.
In the heat of the moment, fellas, I know it's really easy to just, fall head over heels and say whatever, yes, to whatever kinky thing these women are throwing out there. I need to tell you guys, don't do that. Stop.
No, that's not the right way to
Just
go.
say no.
Or, keep doing it. So that way I have more fun content to bring. Because at this point, I just get a kick out of laughing at you guys.
I mean, if they're not doing it, then we wouldn't be here.
Like, I just really, I want a no shit button. Like an easy button. I just want like a no shit buzzer. Just bang.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that sound deck is coming. That's going to be programmed on there.
You read my mind. Once I can figure out how to run the soundboard while we're doing it, we got you.
Sex games gone wrong. Fellas, quit trying to be extra fun. Quit trying to be extra kinky if you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Well, all right.
There's a 45-year-old man in Nepal. I'm not going to disclose any names just because you guys can look these articles up and blast them on social media on your own damn time.
Okay.
But he got his shit stuck in a plastic bottle. Said it was a sex game gone wrong. Now, here's the kicker. This man had this bottle attached to his junk for 2 months.
Wait, what?
Yeah, 2 months.
Where is this at?
You dumb, stubborn assholes.
So wait, was it like a BDSM thing, or he got it stuck?
Sex game gone wrong. I mean, draw your own conclusions.
So you said 2 months? Yeah.
2 months. Yes.
Okay.
2 meses.
So, second question. May I? Second question.
Yeah, go for it.
What country was this? Like, where was this?
Oh, that's a great question.
Please.
Nepal. Okay, Nepal. All right.
45-year-old man from Nepal.
Okay.
So, yeah, 2 months. At 2 weeks, it became really swollen and enlarged, and he thought that puncturing an air pocket would, relieve some of the pressure.
Oh no.
I don't know if it's a 2-liter bottle. I don't know if it's a Gatorade bottle. I mean, I'm not gauging thickness or anything, but he had his shit stuck in a plastic bottle for 2 months before he went and sought medical care.
I mean, when you say bottle, I don't think like the girth of the actual vessel itself, the top of a bottle. It's not a jar. It's a bottle. So that's pretty small.
And that's not even the only one. I mean, I've got a dozen stories here of guys getting their shit stuck in random stuff.
The suction.
Yeah, guy got his shit stuck in a vacuum.
He got it stuck in a vacuum?
In a vacuum, yes.
Oh my gosh, okay.
And this was actually, okay, so I'm probably going to butcher a lot of these facts and details and everything. These are from, random articles that I find across the web. So if I get some of these minor details incorrect, but this was and I don't even know what the proper terminology for this is. So if I accidentally, misnoun you or misverb you, whatever the going rate is for.
He said misnoun you.
Right.
Yeah.
Misnoun you.
I like it.
Pronouns. Yeah.
What is the proper terminology nowadays for somebody born with dwarfism? Because I know it went I know midget is inappropriate. Is it little person?
Little people, little person. Yeah. I mean, I think that's basically PC.
Yeah. So, this guy was a little person, and he was actually a performer for a traveling act.
Okay.
And part of his bit was that he would run across the stage with a mock vacuum cleaner attached to his genitals. Well, a couple seconds before curtain goes up, the vacuum cleaner isn't sticking the way it's supposed to, isn't attached to Velcro. Velcro's coming undone. So in a pure act of genius, this gentleman decided to use super glue to make sure that it wouldn't come undone, which worked out fine for the act, but not so much for, the rest of his life afterwards.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Okay.
That was a moment decision.
That was that poor individual story. Another gentleman got his member stuck in a 5-pound weight.
In it?
Yeah, in it? Like one of the ones that you put on like a bench press machine or something?
Yeah.
Or a bench press?
Like a barbell weight?
Yeah, barbell.
Not a 5-pound curling.
Right.
Curling
Okay.
ball,
So
okay.
one of the
5-pound
circular
plate.
ones. Yeah.
Okay. Plate. Okay.
All
Got it. Okay. Stuff
Jesus
in it.
Christ,
Okay.
man. Women need every single detail.
We're visual, and I need you to paint the full
How
picture.
visual are you trying to get with the 5-pound weight attached?
I'm an
to your
artist.
junk?
I need you to paint me
I
a
am not
picture.
trying to be that visual. That's why
I'm an
omitting
artist.
some of
I
these
need you to
important
paint me a
details,
damn
'cause I ain't
picture.
trying
Paint me a damn picture.
I don't want to. Paint your own damn
Okay.
picture. Imagine a 5-pound dumbbell, whatever you want. This guy just had 5 pounds.
That's
of
what
weight
happens.
We
attached
try and
to
talk
his
over each
genitals.
other. Pet. Ooh.
How in it? Okay, 5-pound weight.
Okay, so we are all familiar with a penis. I will provide a visual representation. Imagine my hand is the 5-pound plate with a hole in the center for a barbell.
Okay,
I got it.
This individual took his penis
yeah,
and put it into the
No,
hole
I
of a
know
5-pound plate. It then got stuck.
okay. So then, second question, why?
Oh no, they don't go. They just talk about the medical side.
All right.
Of it.
So what happened to
That's
this
hilarious.
individual?
Yes.
Well, so he actually ended up going to the hospital, you know, with some relative quickness. Swelling did occur, so which was making it difficult to remove. Doctors used everything they could. They had even a bone saw, but it's a bone saw, not a plate saw. So they actually had to get construction cutters, like a circular saw
Oh
or
my God.
Oh my goodness.
Next to his junk. That.
Oh yeah.
The sparks were flying.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now I have a
But the
personal
picture-
question. Would you freak out
No.
if that happened to you and they brought out the saw?
I know better. I wouldn't be in that predicament.
No, but I'm just saying the saw that close to
Hypothetically.
your junk. I don't think any man's comfortable with that.
No.
I wouldn't be comfortable if I had a chastity belt on and that thing had to come uncook
Yeah,
me.
no. Mm-mm.
No.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
uh,
Go ahead.
what else you got, Brother K?
So you guys remember a couple of weeks back, I talked about the guy who got his testicles stuck in a padlock. So
Right, okay.
let's go ahead and take a moment to remember that, dumbass. Another man got his you can't make this up, man.
You can't even keep a straight face. So this one's gonna be.
I'm
good.
sorry, the snorts are flying already. So
Right,
get
I
ready.
know, just go ahead and let it be.
So I don't know. I don't have important details that you girls are looking for.
Like, so let's just cut that.
So whatever visual you guys decide to come up with off of this is, you know, based on your own imagination.
Mm.
But I will leave you at this. A man got his penis stuck in a wedding band. Yep. There you go. Yep. Let it all sink in. So he thought he was actually doing himself a favor using a solid gold C-ring.
Death do us part.
So he thought he was using it kind of like a longevity, like kind of like what a cock ring would do.
Right, yeah, to keep him hard.
Yeah. Well, it was a little too tight, got a little snug. So again, what do they have to do? They have to break out that saw.
Well, something's telling me that he's not one of those guys. It's like, yo, the maximum Durex, they don't fit me, man.
That's why I'm saying it was just like, is it one of those Super Bowl size ring? Like,
Right, like
what type of flex are you trying to do? Exactly. What kind of flex? What the flex is that?
Right, that's not a flex. Like, look, honey, I put our wedding ring on.
He must have been a cheater. He was trying to prove it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I can't imagine he used that ring like with his spouse. Like, I have to imagine that there's some other situation going on there where it's just like, I got to take the wedding band off. And it's just like, hey, do you got a condom and a C-ring? Like, yes, I got both of those things. Where's that wedding band at? So another individual got his shit stuck in a gold band. So I thought it was another wedding ring. No, this thing was like I don't even know, like part of a pipe. Like it was a little bit girthier.
Okay. So like
okay,
PVC
but
pipe
also
or
a
something
lot
like that.
thicker and a lot more industrial.
Okay.
So something like PVC pipe, but obviously it was metal, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well, so he's stuck. I want to say it's like a collar for some drapes. Like,
Oh,
you know,
okay,
you
I
put
can see
your
that.
crack in
Like
one of those
okay,
when
now
collars.
that
hanging up
makes
your
sense.
curtains. Got it.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, so it was something like that, but again, he had to go to the emergency room to have it removed, and it ended up being a little bit too resilient for medical tools to be able to get through. So again, you know, who do you call? You got to call firefighters. You got to call, you know, local construction companies. Do you have something that can cut through, you know, this material? Yes, we'll be there right away. And I can't, again, my imagination running rampant. I don't think the person who shows up with specialty tools is specifically trained to remove items from such a sensitive area.
Absolutely not.
And
I'm
so,
sure they have a brief like overview, but not depth.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that somebody specializes in that, but if
And
they
so,
do
like,
that, that's cool.
you guys remember the movie Armageddon and ask yourselves that age-old question, like, wouldn't it be easier to teach astronauts how to drill rather than it is to teach oil diggers or oil drillers to become
Why?
astronauts?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so which would you be more trusting of? A doctor using a unlicensed power tool,
Or
an unlicensed construction worker performing a medical procedure?
Yeah.
they're both bad. They're both bad because, well, I don't know, because a doctor, like,
Would
depending
have
on
more
what doctor-
care, I guess. More
Right.
like,
Well, no, not necessarily. Doctors suck. I'm sorry, but they do. And here's the deal. At least depending on the type of doctor, I think I would trust a doctor more, just because of the steady hand type thing. Like if that doctor's a surgeon, maybe.
absolutely. Yeah.
But then again, I've known a lot of construction workers that really know their tools. So depending on where, it doesn't matter where it's at, they know their tools.
I would sway more with the doctor. I think he would know his way around the tool a little bit better.
You know what? I just imagine a construction worker going on. Oh yeah, I can get that. Watch this. I won't look.
Exactly.
God, yeah,
Because everybody knows a construction worker who claims they can hammer a nail in without looking at it.
Yep.
Who can
Right.
who can eyeball a cut.
Yep.
Like, just because you watched a show of like trauma in the ER does not mean that you are skilled enough with the power tool to do this.
Right.
And something else that I was just thinking of is all of these stories have happy endings. I mean, the individuals survived, individuals kept their, genitals, minor bruising, returned to normal within, 2 weeks to a month afterwards. Where are the stories where they don't end well?
Yeah.
They're there.
Oh, I
That's
know.
another
I
story.
can't
That-
find them.
that's-
And that doesn't always end well.
Yep.
So
before you move on to the next story, Roy had said he got it stuck in a vacuum. Man, that must suck. Lol. And then he said, lol, was he married after they broke the wedding band? Did he stay married?
I mean, depending on the outcome, who knows?
do you want that back?
I know, right? Like, I don't think and plus it's broken. So no, I doubt that they got a divorce, but she probably got a very nice replacement ring afterwards, if he knows what's good for him.
Depending on their relationship, she'd probably relish in having the trophy after the fact.
Right. Here's my broken ring that my husband tried to.
That's like in a frame on the wall, and all the guests that come over, like, oh, let me tell you about this funny story. Like, babe, shut up.
Right. I know. All right. So what's your next story? I know you got more than that for us.
I know.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'll just wait.
So, this one was particular, and I can't describe it as anything other than just juicy.
Okay.
Right. So a man knocked himself unconscious. This is the headline. Man knocks himself unconscious after lover mistakes lubricant for hot sauce for lubricant.
Oh, no.
What was it? Why was it next to each
Wait.
Oh, so this, it gets so
Is it
much.
clear hot sauce? Like, how do you mistake?
Oh, it will get so much better. So as it turns out, this was started out as a one-night stand. Man takes woman home from bar, and she performs oral.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that the story is lined up, like, it's almost too ridiculous to be true, but because it's so ridiculous, you can't help but believe it. So she said she reached into her purse where she keeps lubricant and took out a bottle of hot sauce. So I first want to know what this lady's daily life is like, that she's got hot sauce and lubricant in her bag.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to that. So she starts stroking, and not paying attention as she's rummaging through her purse, takes the first bottle out that she gets a grip on, pours it on this dude's, junk, and then continues to stroke. So it didn't take this gentleman too long to figure out that something was horribly, terribly, catastrophically wrong.
Okay.
And began looking for a way to relieve himself when he tripped over some of her items that she had on the floor and was rendered unconscious. Probably best case scenario.
Like, was he unconscious from the pain or hitting the floor?
No, hit his head. Fell down, hit his head.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now here's where it just gets better.
It just gets better. Let's listen.
Because again,
there's more.
I want to get a 20-minute interview with this chick. Because after this guy knocks himself unconscious, she remembers that yogurt is and these are her words, yogurt is the best remedy for hot sauce on genitals.
How does she know?
Right. Like, how does she know that?
Again, I want a 20-minute interview with this chick because she keeps lube, hot sauce in her purse, and she knows that yogurt is good.
She's prepared.
She's a prepared kinkster. Go ahead.
So she covered his junk in yogurt, and that actually, helped he regain consciousness and wasn't in complete and utter agonizing pain anymore. And then afterwards, they began dating, and they're now a couple. Now, again, like I said, it just keeps getting better.
Okay.
I don't know what their social media profile is. I've been trying to find it because I want to share it. They made a photo set. They took pictures recreating the incident from that night.
Oh.
And so it's kind of like their meet cute story for their social media page is a series of pictures, showing where he was at on the counter, where she was at, where the purse was at, where he was unconscious.
Yo, you have those pictures?
No, not handy.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I'm gonna loosen the screen share.
No, let's see, please. Spill the tea.
Well, I have the pictures from the news article that has all of these situations on it, and there are a couple of photos. And that was the other thing I wanted to share is the 5-pound weight, the padlock, the wedding band, the gold band, and but not the plastic bottle. All of those medical photos are blurred out, but they're available online, and they were a part of this article.
All right.
So for all of you guys that are trying to use, rings, bands, unlicensed products for longevity, size, all that stuff, go talk to a fucking doctor.
Go get a toy. That's what sex shops are for. That if you don't want to go to a sex shop, then order online. You're
too embarrassed to go to a sex shop. But you're telling me that the alternative of using some at-home remedy and ending up in the ER
that's not okay. There's nothing about that that's okay.
No. That's why we're here. So we can.
All right. And then the other thing was, this one's on the ladies and possibly the fella as well. A woman fell from a balcony half naked in Taiwan and landed on a car. I guess they were doing it on the balcony and the railing gave way and she just
so many questions.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I don't know if you've seen the picture circulating around online. This is
I was say I think I've seen that one.
She fell in a seated position and landed on top of a car with a sunroof.
Oh.
Yep.
And so she's like the images is just like her literally in like a chair sitting position, just drop. Article doesn't disclose like what story they were on or like how far of a drop it was, but she did drop. So I mean, you could possibly guess it's between the second and maybe fourth floor. I feel like anything past I feel like the fourth floor would have been a little bit more catastrophic. I think she wouldn't have made it.
She kind of bounced up a little bit. She had some life to her. Okay.
Yeah.
But she was okay.
So the thing with the yogurt, Roy said y'all didn't see the Dr. Phil episode where they talked about the same thing you did and said they told about the yogurt. That's probably how that woman knew, is what he's saying. Yeah. She's
a Dr. Phil watcher.
She's a Dr. Phil watcher. She's a daytime TV watcher.
If you're comfortable with having that level of expertise for those types of situations.
I mean, it comes in handy. You never know.
I guess.
Well, if you had some pepper spray in your face, so
Yeah, usually use milk. I've never heard yogurt, but like, why did she know that would work on the genitals? That's what I want to know. Probably did Dr. Phil say it works on the genitals?
Maybe it's more like a thicker substance, maybe.
Yeah, I think it would stay in place a little bit better than just like something as liquid as milk.
Yeah, probably.
So,
yeah, the visual.
I mean, but would sour cream be even better?
Right, because that's thick.
It's dairy.
It's thick.
So, all right. The last thing I have for us tonight, and I know this is going to bring up a healthy level of conversation because I already have a million questions.
Because soaking. Okay, go ahead.
It's not quite going to be there. Well, I mean, let's go ahead.
Watch our shows, you know what I'm talking about.
Right, exactly.
Zap to the Future New male contraceptive testicle bath zaps sperm and feels like a warm bath.
Wait, what?
Would you
What?
try a new male contraceptive that zaps sperm in order to prevent pregnancy? That's the concept of a new bath-like device that warms the testicles, reducing sperm mobility. This should prevent a pregnancy, the creators say, and is reversible in just a few months' time, allowing for family planning. The concept has only been trialed in animals so far, but is hoped to progress to humans shortly. I hope it doesn't. Designer Rebecca Weiss hopes it will revolutionize contraception as the hunt for a male alternative to the pill, coil, and implant continues. Speaking of COSO, which is this product, the device is filled with water and automatically warmed up to an operating temperature. The treatment takes place in a sitting position with the legs spread apart. Since the water temperature is just slightly above body temperature, the sensation will be comparable to that of a warm bath. I don't care. The testicles are placed inside and ultrasounded for a few minutes.
Okay.
The ultrasound generates deep heat in the testicular tissue. This targeted use of heat alters sperm mobility, which prevents the female egg from becoming fertilized. In addition, the formation of new sperm is suppressed for a certain period. They're estimating 2 months. Therefore, a reliable contraceptive effectiveness is created. Before its first use, the gadget would be configured by a doctor to suit the user's testicle shape and size, and it gives a whole bunch of other details and like how this thing exactly works. But can we go back to the fact that it's ultrasounding your nuts in an effort to reduce sperm mobility?
Well, and if you have dead tissue, I mean, just like a dead tissue inside your body, doesn't that cause like an infection? Doesn't that like, I don't know if it's the same thing for sperm, but
Yeah, how does
like if
that
you
work?
kill off something and it's sitting in your body,
Where does it go? What is
right? Like what
Well,
do
your
you?
body ends up rejecting and trying to flush out whatever's not functioning normally.
Okay,
All
right.
right, so I'm not a doctor. I don't have, a degree or anything. But however, I am an expert at fucking common sense.
Okay, well,
And
tell us your
so I
common
would have
sense.
really
Kane.
liked to have been in the idea room when they were throwing this shit around, because you are taking an ultrasonic frequency in order to reduce sperm mobility. Now, if you can actually calculate the idea that you can immobilize sperm with ultrasound, I mean, ultrasound's a concept that's been around since, I want to say, the 60s.
Right.
And we're just now, discovering that it's useful in this arena now. I don't think it is. Like I said, when you have dead tissue or dead cells within the body, that's what your boogers are made out of.
Your body
That's what your
makes
excrement and everything,
Yeah.
like your body has ways
has
of
to
flushing
expel
these
it.
things
Yeah.
out. And I also, I don't know, I'd have to look at clinical trials, but eventually the body develops a resistance to whatever is doing it harm. So using this thing for a prolonged period of time, if you're using this as your main source of contraception, I imagine it would have to become less and less effective the more you used it.
Right.
Now, if this thing actually just immobilized sperm, then that would mean that you weren't able to ejaculate. So that means you have, so one of two possibilities is, gonna occur. Either it's going to sit stagnant in your testicles, or you're going to be pushing, for lack of a better word, a dead load.
Oh,
And so one, I can't imagine that that's going to feel good.
right. Because
Right.
Two, I can't imagine that that's healthy. I mean, if you're using this as an alternative to contraception, so you're not wearing a condom, so you are, unloading unprotected into your partner, I have to imagine that has to create some kind of UTI.
Or
Yeah.
yeast infection. Like women's pH is so sensitive. Like if you're doing this with a female, like somebody can be diabetic and have high sugar levels, and then you have intercourse, and that woman then gets a yeast infection. Like there's just no way around it, because there's all these sugar proteins within, your pre-ejaculation, all of it, even if you don't ejaculate. So
And so they say that they're an animal trial.
so
right
many
now.
questions. It's like saying you can't get pregnant off of like pre-cum or like, the pre-ejaculation. It's like, what
Right.
are you trying to suppress it to be pre-ejaculation, which you could still get pregnant off of, or you're trying to make all of it dormant? Like, what are we
Well,
doing?
and everything that they're saying is that it's in animal trials and it's going to be progressing to human trials. And I feel like they're focusing more on the immobility factor and not
what it
enough
does.
on the effects
Right.
factor.
Right.
Like
That
what
it
is
has
what are
on
the
that
long-term
man that
effects of
What
this?
it does, not overall.
Just
right.
because it works for a night, I mean, what is it doing in the long run?
Right. It
Right,
works,
what-
but is it helpful or is it hurting? Like,
Well, and that's kind of like what's already on the market with women with like the Depo-Provera shot. Some women can't take that. You know what I'm saying? It causes a whole lot of issues. It makes your hormones go crazy. And even after
infertility, irregularity.
right. And once you get off, like there's still
Mhm.
problems. I mean, kids are coming out with disabilities because of it. It's like,
Or women are just, like you said, just getting overall the side effects of it. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, it may help right now, but is it overall going to be,
Right.
something that makes you
And
smile later?
well, and here's the thing. Testicles are very particular, right? Heat, cold, all that kind of thing. And sperm is extremely particular. Heat, cold, all those kinds of things. I mean, like
True.
just a couple degrees hotter or a couple degrees cooler, and you have more deformed sperm within your ejaculation.
Mhm.
So what does this do if you're doing this as a long-term thing to prevent pregnancy? What does this do for reproduction? Like when more come, like, are they coming out then, with
Well,
issues?
Well, and here's the thing is that it's a contraceptive. So it's preventing pregnancy. So the odds of becoming pregnant from this, I mean, is still yet to be determined, but they wouldn't offer it or label it as a contraceptive if it wasn't effective.
Mhm.
And so the risk of pregnancy is like got to be super low.
No,
you
but
know?
I'm saying like even with the Depo-Provera, like if you take yourself off a Depo and try and get pregnant, you can still have a whole heck of a lot of issues either with that child, that pregnancy, whatever.
Or even getting pregnant.
Right.
Infertility, a lot of stuff can be affected.
Miscarriages, there's all sorts of things that happen from once you get off and you've been off of it, even for a year, you still have
A couple
issues.
years,
So that's
yeah.
what I'm talking about as far as like once you decide, okay, well, now I want to have a kid, and you decide to get off of this, ball warming thing.
Yeah.
What does it do to the sperm that's, coming? Like, I don't feel like they're
But
doing
it's like the
research
focus is on the
what
sperm,
happens
but
afterwards.
yeah, is it affecting like the penis? Is it affecting like how the member can even function? So we're focusing on one purpose, but does it help everything else overall to work?
Right. And even the females, like I was saying, because if somebody's diabetic and has high sugar levels, then you're going to get a yeast infection. It's just inevitable. So what is that doing to the woman if you're dropping an entire ejaculation inside of her? Yeah. And like, what is it? Okay, this is why Mr. Aurora says I am particular about who I'm with because it's an exchange of energy. Okay.
So
you are in control.
Here's a little fun fact. Back when I was in the military, I was a calibrator. And one of the sections that of calibrated electronics that we worked on was we called it RF, radio frequency.
Okay.
So anybody that is familiar with the concepts probably heard of this before, but when you're exposed to the level of radio frequency while you're doing these calibrations, because you're calibrating really high frequency, talking about kilohertz, megahertz, just really high. Yes.
Well, I was going to say kind of like when you go and get your teeth x-rayed or you get something x-rayed and they put that metal plate over you, right? That's why they're doing it.
No, that's radiation.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that's something completely different.
Okay. I was like, wait, is that the same thing?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. So the test equipment that we used in there generated really high radio frequency, and it became like a common fact, amongst calibrators and people who work on this type of equipment, that it actually was proven to I don't want to say eradicate, because it didn't like get rid of them, but it more or less targeted sperm that carried the genetic material to make a boy.
The X chromosome.
Yeah. So the only thing that survived was this Y chromosome.
Mm-hmm.
The X chromosome.
No, X is for boys.
X is for girls.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
No, now I want to
So
look that up.
No.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
anyways,
Go
it became a common fact that, you know, the working in this specific section, and if you ended up conceiving a child while you work there, you were more than likely going to have a girl.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
Because of the
actually had
frequency.
somebody while I was working in the shop. This was such a well-known and well-proven fact that this individual, his wife was pregnant, went through everything, and they had a boy.
Ah.
And so he thought he beat the system until we gave him enough shit that, hey, maybe it's not yours.
Oh no.
And so he went and
No.
got tested, and yeah, it wasn't.
Oh, no. That's why do
Keeping
you
it
always
real
bring us
goes
these
wrong.
horrible stories?
Oh my God.
So if radio frequency can do that,
Right.
Well,
what is this ultrasound doing?
Right. Exactly.
And
Okay,
so, like I said, it's in the concept right now. They're putting it through human trials, you know, probably as we speak, and some unfortunate group of souls is having to be experimented on with this new device.
I don't, why? Just why?
Why? Yeah. The X chromosome is one of two sex chromosomes. Humans and most mammals have two sex chromosomes, the X and Y. Females have two X chromosomes in their
Yeah.
cells, while males have an X and Y chromosome in their cells.
Mhm.
That's why I get it confused. Yep.
it.
So yeah, I just wanted to look that up and make sure that we were given the right information here. Instead of like, really? Wait, what? Huh?
Right. Good job.
Well, I kind of remembered it because they said that males are the ones who determine the sex of the baby because they're the only ones that can donate
That have
either an
both.
X or a Y chromosome,
Correct.
and females
That's-
are only capable of donating an X.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. So this is all about positions tonight, but are you done with your hot topics, Mr. Kane?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
Good job.
positions, right? And we had to find ours. So we're doing things a little backwards. This is SafeWord. And here on SafeWord, we have a SafeWord of the day. We use this SafeWord to stop, halt, and completely put a pause on all topic of conversation. So SafeWord crew, would we like to tell everybody what the SafeWord of the day is? If you don't know, it's right here on the board. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Pet.
Pet.
All right. Now, on SafeWord, we use Zoom, and sometimes Zoom has audio issues. So we throw up a symbol here in case we're saying the safe word and no one's shutting up. So ready? Crew, we would like to show them what that symbol is. So throw that symbol up if you're saying the safe word of the day and no one is stopping. Okay. And just make sure that you say the safe word of the day so everyone knows what it is.
Yeah.
All right. So we have an amazing show tonight. We are talking all about finding your position within BDSM, kink, and even relationships. All right. So what position or positions may be right for you, and how do you figure that out? So to kick things off, we will be taking a very well-known kink test. Y'all know this kink test. You probably have seen it on FetLife. If you've ever been on the FetLife.com, most people have it in their bios and it has a percentage and it has all this breakdown, right? So, but it is called the BDSM test. And this is to figure out where you fall on the kink scale. So we're going to get our kinksters, our host kinksters answers, right? As well as anyone else who may want to take this test. We'll make sure that we drop it in the comment section below. I'm actually going to take some time to do that while Kane is pulling up his, so that way you guys can take the test along on your own time, because it's long. It's long. Okay. And then make sure that you comment below if you want to comment in and say what you got. I'll read it for you. And we will discuss how we felt about this test, if it fit us, if it didn't, all those kinds of good things. Then we have a bit of a trivia night where the SafeWord crew will be playing a trivia game built around finding your position. Let's see how we fare on our knowledge of helping someone find the right path, because I think we all kind of know where we kind of fit. We know our positions within the BDSM kink, or our labeling. So
I think we do.
Yeah, so we're going to take a little bit of a trivia night tonight and see how the hosts of the SafeWord crew would go about guiding someone. Let's see if we know our knowledge on that. Okay. And then we have a question that was sent in by a viewer that we're going to answer. I want to make sure that we, reach out to the fans, reach out and touch somebody.
Here for you.
So yes, that is going to be our show tonight. So a bit of a position change in the way we're delivering our information tonight, instead of just boring you with a bunch of, words and just us talking over the top of each other. We're going to play some games. We're going to make this fun. All right. So let's get the show started and kick things off to Miss Sasha, who is going to explain what our show is about tonight and take us on a kinky journey of self-discovery. So Miss Lencher, would you like to take us on our journey?
Absolutely. So let's go on this kinky journey together. So it probably seems like we touched on this topic a time or two, finding your position before we've taken some, sorry, I'm tripping over myself. So, because I'm sure everyone who's tuning in feels like we've done this before. We've been through finding our position, and we've definitely touched on finding out if we're a dom or if we're a sub. So in other words, we've I'm so sorry, I am tripping over myself.
You're completely fine.
But we pretty much touched on what it is to be a dom and a sub. And since you've been following us and you've liked and subscribed and you're here, if you've watched any of our other shows, you might have said, oh, it seems like I'm so sorry.
Well, it seems like they found their description. So if you watched any of our other shows, right? We've talked about DOMs, we've talked about subs, and I'm sure somebody sat there and gone, oh, that fits me, or that fits me, right?
Yes.
So
absolutely. So
being the doer, having control, being worshiped, those kinds of things, those would make you think that you're a dom, or vice versa for a sub, right?
So we've taken you down quite a few paths in finding out about oneself, but we have taken you on a journey nonetheless. So let's figure out what's next.
Yeah. So like if you figured out that you're kinky, you probably want to know what's next.
Absolutely. Well, tonight, the SafeWord crew is going to take you on the ultimate Kink Test. If you've ever been on FetLife, it's some of the results that you've seen in some people's bios if you are playing around online. So we will be dropping the link in the comment section so you can take the test on your own. But to save some time, we've taken the test beforehand and we've taken the long version so you can get all of the well-rounded ideas of FetLife. And we're going to show you our results together. So we have already taken the test.
Yes, and Mr. Kane is going to share his answers tonight.
Yes.
And read through some of the descriptions. So we already took the test ahead of time. We have our results already ready for you guys. We're going to do some screen sharing so you can see exactly what it looks like. This is the BDSM test. So if you go on FetLife, a lot of people have this in their bios and you can click the link and then take the test yourself, but I will be dropping it down in the comment section while Kane is going through some of the details of what you can get on these results so that you understand what some of these things mean. So make sure that I think
I didn't do a good job of explaining it.
No, you're good. It's completely fine. So I did loosen the screen sharing. Kane, are you able to screen share? Just so that I know if it worked. Okay, cool. That's what I was double checking, making sure that worked. Sometimes I'll loosen the screen share and you're like, I can't do nothing. So go ahead and screen share for us and we will take a look. Oh, you're going to have to zoom that in.
Oh, yeah.
That is tiny as heck. Because he's got a massive
Where is my
screen.
Zoom?
He's got a massive screen.
Like y'all gonna see my forehead.
I don't have my Zoom on here.
Oh, no, not at all.
No.
What about the three little dots at the top of the screen? See, we all over the place tonight. It's okay. We all just a hot mess.
Forgive us. Forgive me.
It's kind of funny because Roy was like, for once, I'm not the one throwing everybody off.
Oh, gosh.
Better?
Yes,
Yes, perfect.
it's me.
Yes, you can see it.
I'll take it this week.
So like so this is the test, and if I'm gonna have Kane run through it and tell us the name of it, and then if you click on more info, it gives you a description, so you can kind of read through those descriptions or kind of put them in your own words either way, just so that we kind of understand what each one is.
All right, so you guys can see my test results here. 91% dominant. That was my top result. 82% primal as a hunter. 78, 77, 76 respectively for rigger, sadist, experimentalist, voyeur, owner, master, brat, tamer, masochist, exhibitionist, vanilla, just running through these. Pretty high percentages on all of them until you start getting down to, pet, slave, degradee, rope bunny, primal. They're almost non-existent. So that seems about right to me.
All right. So wait, no, what I want you to do though is explain, because we know what a dominant is, but let's like open up Primal Hunter. What does that mean? For somebody that doesn't have any clue what the heck a Primal Hunter is.
So just to go through a couple of these, we could spend probably an hour reading the descriptions on all of these. All right. So a primal hunter are mainly focused on their natural instincts and they enjoy letting their inner animal out during sex. The key part for primal play is that the participants show their raw emotional sexual feelings during play. All of the labels, roles, and protocols go out the window, and the prey can become a snarling, growing, clawing animal hell-bent on getting away from its predator. Me. Hunters typically pair up with primal preys. I would say that that's pretty accurate. Riggers like to tie up and restrain their partners using rope and or other attributes, chain, cuffs, spreader bars, whether for sexual enhancement, art, for fun. They enjoy having their partners completely at their mercy.
So I've got a question for you. So rigger was pretty high on your list here, 82%, right? What out of that rigger do you think you gravitate towards the most? Spreader bars, tying someone up? I mean, what is it about? And because you said this test pretty much fits you. So,
well, I would honestly say that, but man, we're going to get more in depth into this a little bit later. So I don't want to give too many details away, but there's a lot of different caveats associated with these generic titles. And so when I'm taking this test and when it's discussing, the different types of toys and things used during these escapades, chains, cuffs, spreader bars, I'm not really, focused too much on spreader bars when I'm answering positively or affirming these when I'm taking the test. More or less, I'm looking at chains and cuffs, rope binding, things like that. Like I said, I've gotten a little bit curious about shibari, and I'm looking for somebody to, educate me, teach me, and train me in that art form.
We all are.
Yeah.
But I think that, having such a high rating as a rigger is kind of tall tale that it's something that I'm curious or interested in. So restraint is definitely high on my list, and restraint falls under rigor. So that's where we're at there. Everybody knows what a sadist is, and if you don't, Google it. Experimentalist.
Or watch our last video.
Experimentalist, I don't think we need to discuss too much. Voyeurs enjoy watching the nakedness or sexual activity of other people, consensually, of course, typically pair up with other exhibitionists. So voyeurism is, sex out in public, and is synonymous with not having as much shame, not feeling so secretive about your exploits. So taking a little bit, I don't want to say pride, but taking a huge amount of joy out of exposing yourself in the public, consensually, not advocating for streakers or anything, but
within reason.
So what's an
within
owner?
reason. People like to be on display.
Right. So what's an owner? Because I know a lot of people probably are like, owner, what the heck?
Owners own pets, properties, and take responsibility over them on a 24/7 basis. Sexuality is not necessarily involved. In some cases, role play attributes are also provided: a cage, feeding bowls, leashes, collars, things of that nature. There is no link at all with sex with animals, which is simply not on the BDSM spectrum. And many pets don't even feel like they're playing an animal. It's more about typical relationship between an owner and a pet. Owners typically pair up with pets. Kind of. No
like
shit.
Dom sub, kind of
Self-explanatory. You want to find the opposite of what you are.
Master Mistress, we're pretty solid on that. If not, go ahead and watch seasons 1 and 2 of SafeWord.
Yeah, seriously.
Brat Tamer, I actually like this. Brat Tamers are in essence dominants who enjoy handling bratty submissives. I don't technically enjoy it, but it is something that happens often, and
the test says otherwise. The test says otherwise. It says 65% green there.
It's
sir.
in your spectrum.
I mean, it falls within my area of knowledge. I mean, I'm experienced in that, so it was kind of just like, oh yeah, okay.
So this test is designed to show us what we're interested in. So maybe it's something that you may kind of want to explore.
Yes, exactly. Especially when finding your position.
Maybe not for Mr. Kane. He will make
Yeah, I know he's making faces.
like,
Y'all can't see him.
nah.
Miss Sasha's page was up, but you couldn't see him. He was making faces. Okay.
Yeah.
They find
No,
disobedience
I
a
can see
form of
him.
playfulness from the side of the submissive rather than a form of rudeness. They will take no offense to it, but will still teach the sub a well-deserved lesson because, of course, that is why the bratty sub shows such behavior in the first place.
Yes.
Because they want it.
Yep, they want it. All right. Masochist, we know what that is. If you don't, watch season 1 and 2. Exhibitionist, we kind of touched on. Vanilla, I think most people know what vanilla is. It means you don't like none of this kinky stuff, but you're at 49%. So that's kind of crazy that it's so high.
Yeah.
So vanilla people enjoy regular standard sex and relationship models. Nothing wrong with that as long as you're having fun. Vanillas typically pair up with other vanillas. So while you're taking the test, you notice that there's a lot of questions pertaining as extremes. You know, you're either you're extremely for it, or you're extremely against it.
Right.
And so on those items, you know, there's a couple of them in particular that I don't really have too much of an opinion. I'm more neutral on. And I feel like voting neutral is what gives that vanilla percentage, you know, a higher rating.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
when you guys take the test, you guys will everybody else, you know, when you guys are taking this at home, taking it on your own time, you'll notice that there's some questions in there that you're just, well, I'm neither here nor there with that. So
Yeah.
no neutral, no opinion.
Right. So, I mean,
daddy,
it's
mommy, we're all
foolproof.
familiar with. Non-monogamous, for everybody who doesn't know Latin. Non-monogamous do not see sexuality as necessarily a one-on-one thing. Whether this means they will have several relationships or just see each other or see other people outside of their own relationship or have even more exquisite constructions depends entirely on the person and the situation, but they all have one thing in common. Their sexuality is more than just between them and one fixed partner. Non-monogamous typically pair up with several or more non-monogamous.
So why do you think you got that one? Like, why do you think your percent? I mean, it's not high, it's lower, but why do you think that was like maybe 20% over 0?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question too.
So a lot of the questions pertained, there was a couple of questions in there that pertain to being in a committed relationship. I'm not in a committed relationship. So like I said, I answered neutral or disagreed with some of the questions that were more based on being in a relationship.
Okay, that makes sense.
So degrader, this was something that I was a little like, all right, the way that it words, you know, like do you enjoy degrading, being dominating, degrading, talking down, and making your partner feel inadequate? Like, that's a really loaded question. I mean, I know a lot of people will say, you know, like, oh yeah, strongly agree with that, and you know, the alternative is strongly disagree. I'm kind of, you know, middle of the fence on that. It's something that I'm capable of, but it's not something that I'm all too excited to put on the resume and, you know, just there it is, everybody.
Right.
So
you fair on the side of like sternness as opposed to like putting your sub down per se.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's something that they're looking for, like I said, it's something I can facilitate, but is it something I'm necessarily
you can waver into it if need be, because that's why it's a fair percentage from my observation of you.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants it, they can have it. But it's not something that I'm looking for as a, you know, an absolute staple to any of my relationships.
So for you, degrader would be, because that percentage is so low, that the degrader would be, I can do it. It's in my wheelhouse. It's not a hard limit, but it's not something that gets me off either.
Yes.
Right.
Like you could redirect in that manner if need be.
Oh yeah, I can put some people in fucking therapy, man.
Right.
But I think it's cool. It's cool that we're talking about this, because then it kind of helps you see like where these things fall, and kind of maybe where you're like, okay, maybe I can tighten this up, or really sit within yourself. This is why we're figuring this out. But that's cool. We're talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So pet, what's a pet? Because pet is our safe word of the day. So what's a pet? Because it's not like
pets are property of their owner in daily life. Sexuality is not necessarily involved. In some cases, role play attributes are also provided. A cage, feeding bowls, things like that, like we mentioned earlier. There is no link at all with sex with animals. Pretty much the same description as an owner, just on the opposite side of the spectrum.
Right.
I got 74% for owner, which means you're going to have a lower percentage for the alternative, which is the pet. So no, I do not want to be tied up. Do not put a collar on me. And if you mention something about a cage, it better be for you.
No more locked doors for Kane. No.
And we'll run through these last ones because I think that like slave, we understand, degradee, we understand.
No.
What's a rope bunny for people that don't know?
So a rope bunny likes to be tied up and restrained using rope and or other attributes, chains, cuffs, spreader bars, whether for sexual enhancement. Again, I mean, you're looking, a lot of these definitions are
The opposite of.
Right.
Yeah, corollary of their partners. Primal prey, submissive switch. So primals are mainly focused on their natural instincts. And so when you're looking at it from a prey perspective, you're actually looking for that thrill of the chase rather than the thrill of the hunt.
Right.
And so you're looking for the pursuit. You're looking for that animalistic, chase, like we just mentioned. All right, so submissive, we're all familiar with. Switch, thanks to Sasha, we are all familiar with. Brat, thanks to Sasha, we are all familiar with. Boy, girl.
They can't see you, mama.
Stop saying my name like that.
Littles,
now
girls and boys are submissive spirits with a strong flavor for childlike innocence. They long for a nurturing, loving dominant who plays a guiding, almost parental role in their lives. While they require a softer approach to be dominated than most other submissives, their submission can be just as deep as that of any other submissive or slave. Sexuality is not necessarily involved, and there is no link at all with pedophilia, which is simply not on the BDSM spectrum. I will repeat that. There is no link whatsoever with pedophilia, which is simply not on the BDSM spectrum.
At all.
Right.
Now, here's a question, though, because you got a boy, girl, like, and I didn't see it in the green up top. So would you play in that field if somebody wanted that? Like if they wanted you to be daddy dom and take care of them and be daddy? I mean, you got daddy mommy at 29%, but like, what would you be willing? Is that in your wheelhouse?
Oh, yeah. So that's the other thing with this test. And like I said, we were going to go over it, like whether we felt that it was accurate or not. So a lot of the questions that they ask are really open-ended and, up to interpretation. So it's going to be up to whoever's taking it to decide, how strongly they feel about certain subjects and how willing they are to participate in certain acts. So when it came to the daddy mommy and the little boy girl kind of aspect of this, there wasn't a whole lot of questions centered around nurturing. I mean, it's a BDSM test. It's not asking, like, are you a good parent? Do you
right?
They're really broad questions, and it takes a lot of they're questions that really make you think. They really are.
So one of the things that I was actually going to bring up later, but it's worth bringing up now, is like, I'd really like to see which questions were, involved in
what gives you the percentage.
And how answering strongly in one degree or another affected the percentage,
like how it's weighed.
Well, the one thing that I really loved about the test is right at the end, one of the last three questions is, are you somebody who tends to answer tests like these in the extreme form or lack thereof? So I think that they actually do a little bit of balancing after you're done with your test, like the last three questions.
Like, are you overthinker? Are you
right? They're really trying to calculate that. That's why we're taking this test, because this is the test. If you want to know where you fall on the kink scale, this is the best test out there.
So the last one I want to go over is age player. Age players like to play with age as part of their kink. They typically take on a much younger or older age than they actually are, or prefer playing with a partner that does so. Attributes and behavior changes, such as pacifiers, coloring books, speaking in a more childlike language, are commonly paired with this. To enrich the context and make it more appropriate for the played age, sexuality is not necessarily involved, and again, no link whatsoever to pedophilia. Age players typically pair up with other age players. Now, the question that it asked during the test was if you would be comfortable basically being in a relationship with somebody much older or much younger than yourself. And so that was something that I agreed, like age doesn't necessarily, as long as it's of a consensual age doesn't necessarily play a role in that. I mean, there's a loaded question. Women who can still get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It is a very loaded question. Well, thank you, Kane. You did excellent describing all of these different things. If you can release your screen share, I'm going to share mine now. And we're not going to go all the way through it because here's the deal. You guys just got a nice, thick breakdown of each of these things. So, but I am going to share what I did get. And I want to talk about mine just for a hot second, because this is not the first time that I took this test. I've taken this test a number of times, but I took this test at the very beginning when we very, very first started SafeWord, just to kind of see where I fall. And it's good to kind of go and revisit. I have been in this community for a very long time. And I'm telling you, at different stages in your life, different things change, because
Absolutely.
at the beginning of this SafeWord, show and starting this whole project, my number one result was dominant. I had 100% dominant. That's what it was. And as you can see here, my very first one is Primal Hunter. Okay. I'm enjoying the chase right now. Brat Tamer at 100%. Sadist at 100%. If you guys watch this show, I get off by hurting people. So, as long as it's consensual, I don't just get off at hurting people in my life. Rigor. And I know why I got rigor, because I am so into Shibari right now. Like, I look at Instagrams, I reach out to people. I am trying to find somebody that was willing to train the SafeWord crew. So if you are a Shibari expert, or let's just say some stuff, okay, you don't have to claim an expert, reach out, please. Email will be in the description box below, because I would love to get this as footage for all of us to because we all want to kind of learn this. Yes? No?
So one thing
Oh,
I
yeah.
noticed about you, now that you're in your results and Kane went through his, you guys aren't versed in some of the aspects, but are just super interested. So it's cool how that's in the aspect, but it's not necessarily in your guys' wheelhouse.
Right, exactly. So like when they were asking certain questions about being tied, like tie-ups, basic ties, tying somebody, that's my thing. I like that. I like leaving somebody and being like, ha, that's all you get. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And walking away. It's fun for me. But like there was some more very specific questions in there with rope tying and stuff like that, and it piqued my interest. And I can honestly say, when I took it the first time, I just bypassed those. I was like, no, that don't fit me, but I've gotten more back into the kink community and really exploring with doing the show even. And so some things are intriguing now. So I got 99% non-monogamous. Now I'm going to say why I got that. Because for me, I am not a jealous person. As long as there's clear communication, I'm completely fine with being in a polyamorous relationship. So, non-monogamy for me all the way. If you're not getting what you need, why not open it up? So here's the deal. Voyeur was 99. I like to watch people. I like to watch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dominant is 98%. Now, here's where I felt a little bit that it was off, because like it was asking me questions about this, that, and the other, and those are intriguing. But like any dominant question I got, I know I answered on the extreme side of the green. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just me. That's who I am. No, I ain't doing that. No, I ain't submitting. No, that ain't happening. So I was a little confused as to why it was so low, and Primal Hunter got the top rank. But on the flip side, I'm gonna play devil's advocate on myself. I think that the Primal Hunter came up first and foremost because I enjoy the chase. And I've kind of settled back into that chase more than working the dominant aspect of kink.
You're kind of more open to things now, as opposed to the first time you took it.
Right, exactly. Because I was set in my ways, and when we doms, this.
You were trying to do the test instead of letting the test be like
guide where I was going. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it like full on. This is what I think. This is what I'm feeling in the moment, and I got something different. Exhibitionist, 93%. Experimentalist, I missed that one. 94%. Degrader, 87%. That's unlike Mr. Kane over here. That is my wheelhouse. Y'all want to be called some names? I got some names for you. Okay. Owner, I know why I got that. I've had slaves before. Primal Prey, that one threw me off a little bit because it is so high, but I'm not somebody that likes to be like chased down, and I feel like I have to. No, that's a trigger for me. That's a trigger.
See, I feel like that conflicted you and it made you sit in something, and maybe it's triggering. Like, and I feel like even you answering that question, I can tell that you got a little triggered and flustered.
Yeah.
Like, why would that even come up?
Right, because that was one of the ones where I'm like, Primal Prey 40. I mean, the yellow with that. No, I don't like anybody chasing me. I don't want to be hunted down. Leave me the hell alone. And when I say back the fuck off, that's what it means. And then I got submissive as 41%. So I think like if you've got, you really have to take this.
You want to be more of the dominant as opposed to into the chase. Like you want to be the one to guide as opposed to going back and forth with that chase. You're not right there right now. Right. You want to guide and you want to.
Well, and I think some of it was like, there was some certain questions where it was like, would you try? Yeah, I'll try anything once, even if I don't like it, or I know I'm not going to like it. I'll try it once because I want to know what it is on the other side of it, because I don't feel like personally I'm a good dom if I don't understand what the hell my submissive is going through. So I mean, I have subs, you know what I'm saying, and some of my subs are into some of these things. And so like if I was at a workshop and somebody's like, you want to try it, and just I would try it just to see, because I'm very open like that. Rope bunny, I don't like being tied up, so I was confused why that was in the orange. I am a brat. We can honestly say that, especially if I'm in a relationship. I'm a freaking brat. So
maybe the rope bunny is you wanting to try having a pet or someone just kind of in that position.
Well, and I think it really depends, because like if I'm in a relationship, like committed, full on, we are in this where we got connection going, and it's the right connection, then I don't have a problem like somebody taking control for a little bit. That's fine. But it really has to be the right person. You don't approach me with that. That'll be the first thing that shuts Miss Orora
So this down. Would be cool to take with a partner, because then you can kind of talk about like, okay, this would
exactly.
I need my control in a different way. I can't be constraints to the control, but I can be under the rule of control.
Right, exactly. Now, daddy, mommy, I can do it. It's in my wheelhouse. This is like Kane's thing. I can do it. It's in my wheelhouse. But it's kind of what I do on my daily basis. I take care of everybody in my life. So I need a break. So, like
it can be addressed, but it's not
right. It's not something that's gonna get me off. I will do it for you if that's what you need. And then we know all the rest of them. We're just gonna see what I had here. Masochist 8%, vanilla 6%. We all know this. I run a kink page. 3% for a slave. I don't ever see myself being a slave, so I think that's off. Boy, girl 0, pet 0, degraded 0, switch 0. Age player, which I thought was a little funny, because if they gave me submissive at such a high percentage, why isn't switch up in the yellow? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so that's where I'm like, okay, where's this test off? But it is the best test that we have to date. So if y'all want to screenshot that and know what Miss Aurora's percentage is, but don't come at me with none of this crap. Okay, so Miss Sasha, your turn. Share your results, mama.
Don't kill me, you guys. I was having technical difficulties getting through my test, but how about we have fun picking me apart, because this is going to be the first time I take this test, and based on where you guys knew me beforehand and what this test is saying, you guys can pick me apart. How about that? And we can see where, if there was growth or if it's some truth to my switchiness.
Miss Sasha just straight up switched on us right here in the middle of this show. She's like, y'all can just beat me senseless. God dang it.
Switching me.
Just tear me apart.
Let you guys know. But I couldn't get through the test. I was having technical difficulties. But I think it would be cool for you guys to pick me apart and really be honest with my growth in my baby dom switching journey.
There we go. All right. So you're going to share your screen now so we can see your results, or you're going to share it later?
Yeah, I haven't gotten through
Oh,
my
you haven't
test
gotten through
yet.
it. Okay.
So I'll
All
let
right.
you guys pick me apart next week.
Okay, perfect.
So,
Okay.
or
That
even
works.
on the Patreon line.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll let
So-
you guys pick me apart.
So I'm going to ask you to do something for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to finish this test either tonight or tomorrow.
I will.
Okay. And post it on the Patreon. So if you are a Patreon member, you got something to look forward to. And if you're not, join the Patreon so you can see Miss Sasha's test. All right.
Yes, I'll share with you there.
Go ahead, Mr. Kane.
All right. So we all took this test, and like Miss Aurora was saying, it's one of the most comprehensive tests out there. But one of the things that I really wanted to bring up is that more or less, as far as breaking it down as to what type of personality you have, it's also showing your curiosities.
Yeah.
And so it's more than just, like, oh, well, I'm not this, and that percentage doesn't really fit me. Well, it also has a lot to do with your curiosity on the subject. So you might have been a little bit more curious, because a lot of the questions on there are, would you try, or would you be open to, would you experiment with, those are a couple of questions in there. So of course it's going to pique your interest. Psychologically, you're going to, vote more towards one way, like we said, if you're curious about a subject. So
Right.
instead
Definitely.
of looking this as, this is your judgment here, this is who you are. It's also, like I said, showing, what you're curious about and what you want a little bit more interest in. But like we said, it is one of the more comprehensive tests out there. But I'd really like to hear from you guys, and we already kind of started with this. What do you guys think about this test? Like, do you think that it fit? How do you think that it portrayed you? How do you think, it answered the questions?
How accurate it was?
Yeah.
Well, let's start with you. Well, let's start with you, Kane. I honestly want to know how accurate you think this was, or if you think that it because you kind of give us a little bit, but like, did it fit you? Is it stuff you want to try? And if so, what are they and why? Because you didn't give us any of that. Like, what would you be willing to try out of that?
Well, I feel like we should, and it's probably something that we could do on the Patreon, where we just go through and, take the test and discuss the answers, as a group, why we feel one way more than the other, why we strongly agree, strongly disagree. Because it's not even, a drop down menu or anything. It's one of those work function fucking quality survey things where it's like strongly agree, strongly disagree, with like 6 or 7 different, degrees of agreeableness, throughout. So,
but overall, pegged your style that you like to play in for the most part.
Well, yeah, and like
was it accurate?
Well, and like I said, I mean, it's accurate to a certain degree, as far as, there's some things on there where I can say like, oh yeah, definitely, like that should be a high percentage. But when you start getting into like the lower percentages and things like we were saying, I don't understand why that was so high. I don't know what question pertained to this. Like I said, I think it had more to do with the curiosity aspect of it. Like I got 49% in vanilla. That was based off of neutrally answering some of the questions, because I didn't really have a strong opinion one way or the other.
Yeah.
And couldn't necessarily weigh myself, leaning towards one way more than the other. And so I did have to give like a very neutral aspect on it. And I think the way that the test is engineered is that, having a neutral opinion of something would be kind of vanilla.
Right.
Because it would either show a lack of experience or a lack of willingness.
Right.
So
yeah,
I
the
think that's
answer
the
would
way
show if you're daring or not.
Was there anything that you learned from the test? Like a higher percentage made you go, oh yeah, I understand that because I haven't done that and I'd be willing to try it.
I was really surprised at the voyeur percentage, because that was 74%. And I'm somebody who's not necessarily ashamed of their body. But I'm also not somebody who's, just, rolling the roulette wheel, like, where are we going to do it today? Like, oh, public bus stop, we got this.
So that's a good topic. Voyeurism. It's duality though, because it's being watched and liking to watch, right?
Well,
so
exhibitionist would be more of like
just being watched.
Right, being watched, and voyeur is more about watching people. So yeah.
Okay.
So voyeurism, I was a little surprised at, like I said, the percentage on that. Sadist, of course. Rigor, like I said, that has to be more based on curiosity more than actual personality, because some of the questions that it was asking are honestly answering with the mentality of, oh yeah, I want to try that. Yes, I strongly agree that that is something that I would be willing to try.
Right.
Right. And I feel like
True.
to get a more accurate test out of this, it would have to break each question down
Right. And break it
into,
apart.
have you tried it? Would you be willing to try it? And what do you think your experience would be if you tried it? You know, that
Right.
would
Right.
give you
Like
a really solid look at, you know.
Well, and this hasn't been revamped. This test has not been revamped in probably 5 years, honestly, because I've taken
it's a
this
good-
test, like I said, a couple times.
It's a
good
really
base
great
point.
starting point.
Yeah,
it's a good base point.
and that's why I picked that tonight for us to do, because we've done a lot of tests and they're kind of sort of accurate or just kind of sort of funny and kind of sort of fun to take, right? But this one, especially because we're talking about finding your position tonight, kind of helps you decide, or at least look into, if you can't self-check or self-evaluate, this helps you look into your inside, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and go, oh, well, I'm into kink, so now what's next? Oh, okay, I'm a brat tamer. What does that look like? You know, it gets you exploring. It gets you, you know, your creativity and exploration started.
Right.
Non-monogamous was something that also puzzled me. Like I said, for multiple reasons. What a couple of the questions, when you're taking this test, there's like over like what 100 questions.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
If you take the long version, yes.
But and I feel like a lot of the, like maybe 40% of the questions are geared more towards dominance, and then there's a couple of questions geared towards, you know,
submissive.
Submissive.
From where I started, it's more situational questions, depending on where you're sitting. Like, okay, am I in more of an instructional place in my life, or am I more in a experimental place? It definitely helps you tether that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
All right. So Kane, so for the most part, you felt like it was pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's accurate in some regards, and I think it becomes more accurate when you look at it from a perspective of also dealing with the curiosity, not so much labeling a personality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to give my opinion on this test because I have taken it a couple times. It's a great reference point, especially if you've been in the kink community for a while, to kind of see maybe, well, what I'm doing is getting stale. You know, what else could I do? Or, you know, like with me, with the whole primal thing, like I didn't realize that that's kind of where I'm at mentally. And then the test showed it to me and I'm going, oh, yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm sitting today. Okay, that works. And my suggestion when taking the test is to take it from a very neutral standpoint. So you can't have somebody in mind while you're taking this test, because the moment you do, it's going to throw your percentages off. You know, when you have somebody in mind or you have a partner in mind, unless you're like, you know, married or that is your partner, right? It's going to throw you off, because I mean, what would you do with a random individual in a play scene? What would you do with a one night stand? What, you know, like, so you kind of got to take it from a general standpoint mentally as you're taking it. So for me, yeah, it was accurate. I definitely accurate, because I mean, it didn't give me like submissive at the top. You know what I'm saying? But
so what was something that you got as an answer that made you questionable, and how it was such a high percentage?
Well, and like I said, like the whole gosh, which one was it? Let me look at it right now. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. The whole rope bunny, because I don't like being tied up, and that was like 24%. And then I got like the daddy mommy, like it's in my wheelhouse, but not and then the brat, because it was 14%, and literally like it depends on what we're talking about here. Because like if I'm in a relationship, I'm gonna brat the hell out. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not getting what I want, I'm gonna especially if that dude's vanilla and isn't into kink, I'm gonna brat the hell out.
And that's I think that was one of the answers you got, because you're in primal. Like primal was 100%, right?
Yeah.
So the brat that comes in there, it's like, okay, that's a little bit of the predator prey that you had in
right,
there
the
too.
chase. Yeah. Because, I mean, it depends the situation, because I know what I can get away with. Let's put it that way. With
there's a little switchiness in there.
A little bit, maybe.
Switch in the heel.
Or is it dom and mentally dom? You know what I'm saying? Because I know what I need to do to get what I need from you.
Well, and something I kind of wanted to throw in was that there was a couple of questions pertaining towards fetishes,
Right. Yeah.
but yet fetishist isn't a category that's listed.
It's not, right? There's a fetish, like if you fetish size, like that should have been a percentage somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Definitely.
because I mean, there's definitely questions that are leaning towards that. Like, is there something specific that a partner would need to do in order to, get you off or arouse you or things like that? And so I strongly agreed on some of those things. And like I said, I really want to see how this breaks down, like which questions pertain where, because some of those fetish questions, I want to know where they fall in this.
You know what you should do for us, Kane? You're our researcher. You should totally figure out how they go about making this, because nobody's ever done it. Like, and that would be a really cool show just to put up and go, hey, this is how they percentage you based on your questions. Like, if you could figure that out, that'd be awesome. It doesn't have to happen next week. Just, when you figure it out, let us know. Make it a hot topic. All right. No, but one of the questions that you did ask is if there was something new or if it intrigues something within you that you would try, right?
Yeah.
And I did say rigor is something that like I really want to get into on the other side of it, learning, shibari, learning how to do those certain ties, because it's an art form and I'm an artist at heart. I'm an artist. So I see so much beauty behind that, which is kind of why I took on Tantra, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, there were a couple things that like popped to the top, like Primal, for example, where I didn't realize I was sitting in that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of do like that. I do like that. Okay. Right. So it made me go, okay, well, maybe I need to explore that within a play scene, because obviously that's where my mind is at. I want to explore this so it opened up some windows. That was kind of cool. But yeah, I think this is a great like starter for a test, especially if you're trying to find where you sit within the kink community or even within a relationship. Okay, you want to know where you sit within a relationship. This is a great way to kind of figure that out, or spice up a relationship. Great way to figure this out. Like Miss Sasha said, take it with your significant other. Yeah. I'm gonna kick it back to Kang, because Kang gonna keep the show going.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm also really curious as to, if any of our subscribers, take this test and send the results. I'd really like to see what one of these charts looks like.
Go ahead. No, finish your sentence. Okay, because Roy did take the test. He took it very quickly. He took the long version while we were talking. Okay. And he dropped it in the comment section below. So I am going to read this for you guys. Okay. Roy got 81% vanilla, 47 voyeur, 43 experimentalist, 36 PRT. I'm not quite sure what that means. Roy, break that down for us. Yeah. 34 daddy mommy, 21 slave, 18 master mistress, 16% submissive, 9% degradee. Ooh, he likes to be degraded, y'all. 8% dominant, 7% owner, 7% hunter, and 2% age player, 0% brat. Yeah, this test is flawed. This test is flawed. Yes, it is. It's freaking flawed. Okay, you're a brat.
Yes.
And then he said, Aurora's a brat, and then me. Ha ha ha.
I thought I was Queen Brat, but no. Yeah, I don't know how he didn't get no brat.
Right. What? 0%? The test is flawed. I no longer believe in this test.
I'm interested to see what I get. What if I got 0% brat? That would be
but then this test is really flawed.
Then it's really just cracked. It cracked the whole matrix.
Cracks the whole case wide open. And
then I'd really have to dig this up and try to figure out how they did it.
You would.
Forget you guys.
I'm telling you now you got some research to do, Kane. There you go.
It would recommend.
Yeah. You love research, don't you?
When it's fun.
That's why you're the king of hot topics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fun. All right. So we took this test and, it gives us a really good baseline. So all of us know kind of where to start, but now you need to know where to go from there. There's all kinds of like subcategories that deal and pertain with a lot of these higher tier categories. Like we said, they asked a lot of fetish questions, but it doesn't break down fetishist as a percentage that, it can label. Outside of this test, though, we need to figure out, where we all truly fit. And while this test is, like we said, one of the more comprehensive of the ones out there, it should be used more as a baseline, not as a starting point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So take this test, figure out, where, like I said, it has to deal more with your curiosity as much as it has to do with your personality. So don't take these results to be so, black and white that this
Right.
is, like I said, your stamp of judgment. This is what you are. Here you
It's
go.
a good way to recalibrate, pretty much.
Yeah. And also, I mean, if you're starting to get a little stagnant within your BDSM community and trying to find something else to kind of experiment with, here's a good tool to use to figure out, like, what are you into? Like I said, and like I keep saying, everyone's going to get tired of hearing it to the point where probably next week's safe word is going to be curiosity.
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 Let's pique your
Curious.
curiosity.
Curious.
That's too long.
But I'm going to break down 3 things right now that everybody needs to keep in mind after they take this test. So if you are new to kink, if you figured out that you are indeed kinky, or if you've taken the test and gotten results and are now trying to figure out where to go next, that's what SafeWord is here for. That's what we do. That's what we're that. I was going to say that uncle that you talked to about this. But
no, let's
that
not
might-
talk to our uncle
No.
about this. No,
No.
SafeWord is not condoning this.
Your friend, that's your safe space. That's it. This is a safe space, okay?
I was going to say, like, I have, me and my family are really close knit. So it's like there's certain things that I wouldn't mind discussing with a couple of them. This stuff right here. I have my family. I have my older uncles just like, hey, so I heard what you're doing. Like, what's going on? Like, I got some questions.
Ask, huh?
Okay.
That's what's up. That's
okay,
what's up.
cool. All right. Didn't want to think of my aunt that way, but let's have this combo.
Let's have this combo.
Right.
I'm gonna educate you, boo boo.
All right. So if you're kind of confused by all of these results, all of this stuff, like all of these things being thrown at you, even with reading the descriptions and everything, here's a quick tip. So think of this as, like kind of a tiered scenario where you're looking at either Dom, sub, or switch as your top tiers. And everything else on this list kind of really falls into one of those 3 categories. So you have your top tier, then you have sub tiers, and then you have more intricate breakdowns as it gets into more
the rabbit
more
holes.
things.
Yep.
So like a rigger, you're definitely in control of the situation. So that would be a more dominant trait than it would be a submissive or even a switch trait. However, it can be involved with a switch trait if it's something that you're interested in being, on the reciprocating end of. So hopefully that made everything as clear as mud. If not, give us a message, shoot us a text, drop us an email, and we'll gladly take some one-on-one time to kind of walk this through with you.
Right. If that wasn't convoluted enough, we're here for you.
Right.
That was clear as mud.
Oh, like I said, we need to do a whole Patreon post about like the catch-22s of BDSM.
That was clear as sand, huh?
Yeah. So basically, Dom, sub, and switch. What I got from that is like the umbrella, right?
Right.
And then anything else that
No,
falls under
BDSM
that-
is the umbrella.
BDSM is the umbrella.
And
Okay,
then
so
Dom, sub, and switch are like
family tree. Okay,
Yeah.
or we could take this to college. Dom, sub, and switch is the major, right? And
Yes.
everything else falls as a minor or your concentration in. Okay.
Yes.
I
Vocal and
don't we have a
sub.
trivia game to play or something?
don't know. Do we, Mr. Kane? You let
God,
me
I
know.
hope so. Quit breaking down everything I'm breaking down. Shit.
Breaking it down. Just breaking it down.
That's what I'm here to do. Stir the drink. Go ahead.
We have a trivia game to play.
All right.
We just stirring the pot.
What is the trivia game? Come on. Give me some lead in so that I can pull this up. Dang.
All right, everybody. So we have a bit of a trivia night.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
We'll be
goodness.
testing the SafeWord crew on their knowledge of, how to help and guide somebody through these tests and help everybody find the answer. So now you get a raw, uncut look at how your SafeWord crew is here for you. So you're going to get some firsthand experience into some of the things that we'd be able to help you with, some of the discussions that we would have with one another as we discussed your, potential messages with, complete scrutiny and complete confidentiality. But we do talk about it amongst ourselves just to figure out how best to help and what direction to guide you towards in order to help you fulfill all of your BDSM fantasy needs.
Exactly. All right, so we're going to share this here. I did have my SafeWord crew go ahead and log into this. This is something I created, so I didn't think it would be too fair for me to play. I will kind of give you guys my
that's bullshit.
Like if I created, like I know the answer. So like how good is it really? I'm gonna win. But we're just playing for fun tonight. We're not playing for somebody to win. We're playing to get the information out there. All right. So it's called Get In Where You Fit In. This is a trivia game to test our hosts on their mentoring abilities and how to help someone or yourself find their position. Ready?
God, what a terrible picture.
Yeah, I'm sure I want to start the game. Goodness gracious. Okay, here we go. All right. The best way to figure out where you fit is to A, soul search. B, ask a friend or mentor within the community. Do a series of tests to find where you fall. And then be free and jump into exploration head first. Or D, by learning from a Dom, right? Female version. They obviously know what's going on. Did everybody lock in their answers? And it's really weird because this one. Okay, so just so you guys know, this is a new site. Okay, there we go. We received 2 answers. We good. Okay, here we go. This is a new site that I built this on. So we will see how this works all the way through because we did not do a test run, but hey, we're going to test run it with everybody. All right. So soul search. So somebody answered. Oh, me. Sasha got that one. I'm just saying soul search.
Yeah.
And Mr. Kane said, ask a friend or mentor within the community, which isn't a bad answer. It really isn't. It's not a bad answer, but I threw that in there so that you guys would be a little thrown off. All right. The answer was soul search. Ready? Yeah. Going to the next one.
Oh, so the game's rigged.
No, you just gonna have to think really hard. Y'all like my picture? I made that. Okay.
That's cool.
You should choose a maximum of how many categories to label yourself with so as not to be looked at as a newbie. A, there isn't a maximum number. B, there isn't a maximum number because you want to acquire as much knowledge as you can. 3, because there is one main category Dom sub switch, and you should only choose 2 from a subcategory as to not overdo it. Or D, 3, because you really want to focus on just a couple to completely master it. All right. We've got Mr. Kane locked in. Oh, just so you know, you do get points for answering quicker.
Okay. Sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
It's the way the system works. It's on a speed thing. So however.
Okay. Got it.
Answer, is who's going to win. Although we're not doing this for points. All right. Ready? We go into stance. So here we go. All right. You should choose a maximum of how many categories? Okay. So there isn't a maximum number. Sasha, no. Yeah, Sasha got that one. There isn't a maximum number because you want to acquire as much knowledge as you can, or because you really want to focus on just a couple to completely master, which is weird because I got like 3. Okay, so I put a note on this one. This isn't Pokemon where you have to learn them all, but there also isn't a maximum or minimum number. It's all about how you choose to identify. And I really just wanted to talk about that with the crew for like 2 seconds. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, you start out in this and it's overwhelming. I mean, like, look at this picture. It's overwhelming. Dom, Master, Rope Bunny, Primal, Pay Pig, Dad. Where the hell do you fall? It's very confusing.
Especially coming into it from vanilla mind.
Right. And so like our first question was soul search. So you need to take a step inward and even just think of a fantasy, a fantasy that gets you off, a fantasy that turns you on. And where are you in that fantasy? If you were to put yourself in that fantasy, where are you? Are you the doer? Are you the person holding the rope? Are you the person putting a ball gag in someone's mouth? Are you whipping them? Are you, telling them what to do? Are you having them lick your boot? Or are you the one doing it? And really, either way, it's not wrong. It's just, where do you sit? And that's really where you start. And so all the rest of the labels, I mean, I know people in the kink community that don't use labels at all. So
it's finding where you sit in each situation. So if it does arise, you're not overwhelmed or triggered.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, it's really about if you want to use labels, first of all, and second of all, what you feel, what you like, what you don't like. Okay. So next question, here we go.
Okay.
Once you have figured out where you fit or have labeled yourself, you should A, make sure you like it and regularly check in with yourself to see if you need to go a different direction. B, stay with that so people know how to identify you within the kink community. C, change it frequently so you can get the full experience and figure out what you like. Or D, stay with it for a while to make sure if you like it or dislike it, then move on to something new because it's all about exploration. Ooh, we've got answers. Let's see. Kane, you ain't on the board yet. Kane's still not on the board. All right. Make sure you like it and regularly check in with self to see if you need to go a different direction.
I'm a deviant. That's what I'm getting.
So Mr. Kane says, stay with it for a while to make sure that you like it or dislike it, then move on to something new because it's all about exploration. And that's not a wrong answer. It just wasn't the right one for tonight. So
Right. You're a good teacher. That's what I'm getting from it.
Right,
I'm a
exactly.
deviant. You're a really good teacher.
Right,
and guide.
because he is really thinking of this from different perspectives instead of like his own. So
Right.
Just because you have found where you fit doesn't mean you can't try something new, especially the first 6 months to a year. And I put that just kind of like loosely. Okay. It's not like, hey, 6 months to a year, this is what's going to happen. But usually within the
Do a check-in.
Right. Within the first 6 months to a year, like I was talking about, there's so many labels, it's overwhelming. And so you may label yourself as something and then realize you like something else or realize you didn't even like that at all. And so you have to change it. So, you know, it may take you a while to find your identity or label, and you may add a shit ton of labels to it. So you could be like, you know, a master rigger, freaking, you know, there's tons of things that you could add on to it. I know people that have very long labelings. So it's really okay. It's perfectly okay to have a ton. It's perfectly okay to change it as many times as you want, because really it's about you. It's about you. It's about you. It's about you. It's about what you like. So how you choose to label yourself. I mean, we're doing labeling nowadays within society is how you choose to label yourself. Okay. Next question. All right. Who should you seek out if you have a question about where you fit? A mentor that respects your wants and desires, or just yourself. Check in with yourself. A mentor that you can shadow and learn how to move and be just like them. C, a mentor. What? I don't need a mentor. I can do this on my own by picking someone to emulate. Or D, I don't need a mentor. I'm going to play through play scenes to figure it out. We got our answers in. Let's see what we got. All right, kids on the board. A mentor that respects your wants and desires, or hey, you don't need a mentor. You can do it yourself if you can self-evaluate, if you can critique yourself, if you can
be honest with yourself.
Right. Check in with self. Check in with self. That is the only way you can do it by yourself. Otherwise, like Kate was saying a couple questions back, check in with somebody that's a good mentor, like not somebody that's just like, hey, I'm in the kink community, I could teach you. No, please vet your positions appropriately. All right.
And vet your research appropriately.
Yes, exactly. Changing your type is seen as, and by the way, that's the switch flag. I made that. Thank you. Okay. So changing your type is seen as A, experimental and freeing and completely normal. B, someone who can't seem to focus on one thing, not knowing what you want. Or D, experimental and keeping up with the community. We got one answer in. We waiting on Miss Sasha.
Okay. Locked in.
All right, locked in. Let's see what we get. Changing your type is seen as experimental and freeing and completely normal. So I kind of gave the SafeWord crew a hint talking about and explaining the last one. You can have as many labels as you want. You can change it as many times as you want. It's about you. It's about you. What do you want to do? We'll figure out you. That's the key point here. BDSM, kink, if you can openly talk about sex, you really start to learn about you. It's not about the other person. It's about you. All right. So our winner tonight is Miss Sasha with 384 points and Mr. K Marcos with 192. That's still not a bad score, Mr. Marcos. I would let you mentor me because here's the deal. He didn't do a bad job. Mr. Kane came in and he was really thinking about this from, all types of perspectives. And this is just me kind of guessing on this because you do mentor people. So I'm sure that you had a bunch of different perspectives while answering these questions. Yeah, exactly. But Miss Sasha, a baby dom in training, no longer a baby dom in training. She got the full goddess role and she proved it tonight. All right. That was really, really, really good. I appreciated everybody for that, for real. So Miss Sasha, you want to take us into the next section?
Yes, I think we've all tested and provided our ability and knowledge that we can help guide someone through finding their right path. So with that being said, if you're ever looking for guidance, reach out to our emails. It'll be in the description box below. Reach out to us separately. We are always here for you. But yeah, what we're going to do right now is answer a question, and I want to get into it, and I want to make sure that we're acknowledging these questions appropriately. So I'm just going to get into the question. From a viewer. This is a real question.
Oh, okay. From a viewer, from a real question.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. So just read it off to us. Let's hear what the story is
exactly.
about.
So I'm gonna grab my paper and forgive me, but I want to make sure that I'm honoring this the appropriate way. So my switch boyfriend won't let me initiate sex. And I've tried every trick in the book, from sending sexy photos to telling him to drop his pants to standing in front of him in a sexy outfit and receiving nothing but a "oh nice babe." And when confronted, he says, this is not the way to turn him on, and I'm being childish. And if I wanted to be sexy for him, I should send him pictures of me torturing myself. But then I see him saving porn on his phone all the time with the same kind of looks and the same kind of outfits I'm in. And I've even caught him chatting with porn stars online, wanting to release on their tits. Yeah. So we're only having sex about once a month, and it's all vanilla except for one experience. We've been together for 4 years, and he claims he's tired of being the dominant one and has a long list of things that I must do in order to allow me to dominate him. Okay. Otherwise, I'm responded with coincidences of ignoring me. Otherwise responded with coincidences of him ignoring me. And is this normal? So she's having issues with trying to please her dominant boyfriend.
Oh, so he's condescending to her. He's condescending to her, or he ignores her, and she wants to know, is this normal?
Okay. And it's her switch boyfriend, and he won't let her initiate sex. So it sounds a little convoluted.
Okay. Is there any more info? Did she give anything?
Oh, yes. Okay. So there is some more info. So we had our first dom sub. We had our first dom sub interaction in a long time, and it happened last month. He acted without much care for my mental state before or after, and then left for work without checking on me when he was done. It wasn't that enjoyable, and he wasn't successful at making me orgasm before. And he hasn't been successful at making me orgasm. I think he is too impatient for it. But when I tried telling him, even during vanilla sex, he thinks I'm trying to take control for him. So I've stopped. But he also claims that his inability to make me come makes him feel less inclined for sex. So at this point, I feel concerned, and I'm a bit manipulated and depressed, and feel a lot bitter, actually. And I don't think this situation is normal in the world of BDSM, or am I right for feeling like things are off here? I've offered to break up with no hard feelings, but he's adamant that he loves me and wants to be together. So, okay, we've heard long. What do we think, guys? What do we think of this story?
So she's been with this dude for 4 years.
Yes.
Right? They're only having sex Right. And they both entered this relationship really not playing in BDSM, it sounds like, but maybe like they started experimenting with it.
Right.
And they're only having sex once a month. He won't let her initiate sex.
Mhm.
And she's trying everything in the book, even things she knows he's into.
Yes.
Okay. Things she knows he's into because she sees obviously his porn feed or pictures he saves and stuff.
Mhm.
So and none of it's working, and yet he's got a list of things that she must do in order for her to have sex.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a laundry list of things, it sounds like, that he needs her to accomplish before sex is even taken into his consideration, it sounds like.
But he's tired of being the dominant one. That's very confusing.
Right.
Like if you're telling your partner that you're tired of being the dominant one, and then yet you don't take any of the advances that she's giving you trying to be dominant.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, look, I'm going to kick this to Kane.
Yeah.
Because Kane's our odd man out right here.
Yeah.
I want to hear it from the man's perspective after hearing this story. What do you think? And what's something that you could give her as advice? Is this normal in BDSM? Do you think she has an off situation? What needs to happen here? Renegotiation? What needs to happen?
We looked at your test. You fare more on the instructional dom, the more guider. So
this is why he's on the show, because he's an appropriate dom.
Exactly. Yeah. What do you think?
Shit, I'm thinking a lot.
Man.
And that's fine. Let's give it from both angles, because that's what she's looking for. She's not looking to bash on her boyfriend.
Right.
She's
and like, don't take our responses, like, if you're watching, don't take our responses as being flabbergasted with your situation. We really want to address it and give you a multifaceted response so you can like sit with it and do what you need to do.
Yes, and we have an extra viewer in here, so that might be her. Let's make sure that we give her some good points, cues, tips, tricks.
And we're gonna keep it real.
Is this normal in BDSM? What is the guy doing? What do you think the guy is doing? Like, just from a guy's perspective, even,
Great, no pressure. I don't know. Like, I'm seeing like,
and we can take it from both angles. She's not trying to bash him.
Yeah, from your
trying to bash him. She loves him. She's trying to make it work.
So think of the perspective of this is someone that you're mentoring. And
so from what it sounds like, it doesn't seem like there's a love loss in the relationship.
Okay.
So I mean, she obviously cares about him, and he's made statements that he also cares about her. I mean, with the idea of, but again, it kind of shit.
It's hard.
So take it from one angle and then give us devil's advocate on the other angle.
Well, and that's the thing, is that's not how I operate. So I'm going to devil's advocate myself in the middle of a statement.
Okay, so let's make a starting point for ourselves. It sounds like he's a switch and he doesn't know what he's figuring out, and she's going along with it.
Well, that's your interpretation. That's your interpretation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to know, what Kane got as an interpretation as a dude.
Well, so there's a lot of things, like I said, there's a lot of red flags that are coming up. I mean, if you're entering into it as a switch, but yet he's got a laundry list of dominant traits that he wants to see in order for sex to become pleasurable, then I wouldn't. My first red flag is that this person is not a switch.
Okay.
This person is adopting a switch-like mentality in order to facilitate a better response from his partner instead of coming out with his full freak flag.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And so I think it's, I don't want to say it's a manipulation tactic, but it definitely seems a bit manipulative to claim to be a switch, tired of being in a dominant position, but still not offering the dominant role to your partner. Now, if you're going to give them a laundry list of hoops to jump through in order to become a dominant, then you're running into, okay, well, am I really being dominant, or am I just being even more submissive in this situation and still not being dominant? Like, are you gonna, this person can turn around and laugh at you because they made you jump through A, B, and C in order to be D. So if you're jumping through all those hoops, I mean, are you really being in a dominant role, or are you just, taking more submissive steps and then getting to, you get to drive daddy's car at that point?
Right.
Yeah.
One of the other red flags is that from a male perspective, and this is something that I'm going to just throw out there without knowing more about the situation. I mean, there could be something contradictory to this, but wouldn't necessarily take this guy's perspective of not wanting to be loving the person and not wanting to lose them as so much as affection as it is control.
Ooh, okay.
And so I've definitely not even within the BDSM community, but I've counseled and mentored a couple of people, and one of the things that it's that abusive situation, it's almost a Stockholm kind of syndrome, to where you fall in love with your captor.
Yeah.
You can't see their flaws because you can't see past your rose-colored glasses of how much you love that individual, but the manipulation can be very apparent, but because you have such a skewed view of that person's intentions, I mean, the manipulation might not be as prevalent in your perception as it should be. I definitely see that, like a no strings attached. Hey, you know what? If this isn't for you, then we can go our separate ways as friends. No, don't go. I love you. I really do want to be with you. I honestly feel like that's a manipulation. I don't feel like that is genuine, because if you really cared about that person, then you would at least have a conversation of what can be done.
Right.
A lot of things that we talk about, I mean, watch season 1 and 2. Everything is about communication. If you're not able to communicate your feelings, if you're not able to communicate what your partner is doing wrong, then how are they ever supposed to get it right? And again, it goes back to all these hoops that you're jumping through. It just seems like this person is a much more devious dominant than they're letting on.
Okay.
Or lost, because they're acknowledging that they're a switch.
Right.
Too.
Yeah.
So would you say that maybe maybe it's physicality is being leveraged against emotions? That's what I'm kind of getting.
Yeah.
Like the emotional aspect of the relationship is getting convoluted with scene.
Yes and no. I think the emotional aspect of it, though, is different for both partners. I mean, I think the emotional aspect for her is a very loving relationship, but I can be completely wrong. So don't take this as gospel. Don't think that, I'm hitting the nail on the head or anything, but it certainly raises questions. It certainly makes me, want to advise this person to really take a solid look at this with an unbiased opinion. Is your partner in love with you, or is your partner in love with the ownership of you? And that degree of not wanting to, end the relationship, is that because they want to be with you, or because they don't want to see you with somebody else?
Right. That's what I was going to say. That was my kind of thought process when you started bringing that up. It was just like, okay, she offered to break up with him, and he's like, no, I love you. Is it because he loves you, or is it because
and then
he doesn't want to see you domed by someone else? He doesn't want to see you give what you give to someone else.
And that's the other thing, is like we said, I could be completely wrong. I mean, this could not be the situation whatsoever, but from my perspective and my opinion, that is certainly worth looking into. And the other thing that kind of leads me to that conclusion is, if you did play in a scene and they didn't have aftercare, if they weren't concerned with your mental state, if they went to work without checking in on you, it definitely 100%. And I can bring up several textbooks right now that say that is a personality of somebody who is not 100% committed in that relationship.
A dom in switch clothing.
So I think it's yeah.
Okay, Miss Sasha, what do you think? What's your advice on this? Because this is a very complex one, and I know there was more info, and for protective reasons, we kind of cut some of that stuff out.
Yeah,
but we all have the background info on this situation. But like, what's your thought process on this?
It's just so many layers to it. It's like I said, it's a dom, and from my perspective, it's a dom in switches clothing. So if he's genuinely trying to figure out where he lies in the relationship, it sounds like it's an emotional relationship, but it's convoluted a lot in scene. So it sounds like scene's been discussed, but not really categorized within, like, okay, if he's the switch, where do I lie? Right. So if he's feeling more dominant, I have to weigh with You know, if he's being more of a dom, is he on his sadomasochistic side? Is he on his degrading side? It's like it seems like he doesn't know what he wants to tap into. If you're a switch, then you can switch into, okay, let's go into aftercare. How
Right.
are you doing? I'm gonna tap out and go to work. Are you good? It sounds like a dom and switch's clothing.
Okay. All
Well,
right. Well, and I have something to say on this.
Yeah. What'd you
Um,
say? What? Oh, go ahead.
because the question that she's asking, well, the very last question that she asked is, I don't know if this situation is normal in the world of BDSM, or if I'm right to feel things that are off, like shit's off here. So I'm going to answer that question.
Yeah.
No, this is not normal within BDSM. And within BDSM, your partner, I don't care if it's a play scene and you showed up to a dungeon and paid $500 to see the top dominatrix. You're not going to walk into that freaking scene until negotiations have happened. And negotiations are very intense. They're very fucking detailed. And if you can't, like Kane said in our negotiation video, if you aren't comfortable talking about this, you should not be heading into BDSM. You really shouldn't if you can't talk about it. So here's the deal. Like, I could play devil's advocate all night and be like, maybe he's this, maybe he's that. And without all these, key pointers, I'm not in your relationship. I'm not standing there with you. I don't know what's happening on a day-to-day. I don't know what's happening when you're outside of your play scene. Okay. And like Miss Sasha said, it sounds like the play scene's being drug out into other things. So my advice would be to renegotiate. And if he can't sit down and have a conversation with you before you enter all of these gosh darn different things, are you guys in a 24/7? Are you guys in a, hey, this is just a play scene only? Like that's some of the information that's missing. So like if you guys are in a 24/7, it really doesn't matter if you're in a 24/7 or if this is something that's in the bedroom. If it's something that's in the bedroom or a play scene, it shouldn't be drug out into real life. Just shouldn't. You are your own people. You're your own person outside of that situation. But if this is a 24/7 situation within BDSM, you should go, okay, pause. Here's my safe word. We're going to sit down and talk about this because look, I just came into this room in 6-inch stilettos, dressed to the nines, stood in front of the TV, and you said, oh, nice, babe.
Right. It's like your safe word. You should be using your safe word. Yeah. Or, be like, it's not the time right now. I'm not feeling it. It should be something like you said, you guys should be able to address what is seen, what's not, because it sounds like.
Well, and if you're in a relationship for freaking 4 years, you should be able to sit down with your partner and go, okay, look, I walked into the room like this. I know that you're looking at porn. You're saving freaking pictures. I dressed like that picture to try and entice you. I'm trying to take over the dominant role, but you won't let me. Now I've got rules I've got to meet to make this happen, and I can understand all that, but then tell me you're in dom role so that I can switch back into my submissive role. Like two switches together really, really, really need to communicate. Because at any given point, you could be switching. And how do you know what your partner's doing?
Right.
Without clear communication. So then you're just kind of sort of trying to play double dutch and wade in the water to figure out where the heck your partner's sitting. No, there should be discussion. I mean, am I off on this?
No.
Well, and one of the other things that's worth mentioning is like you brought up that, I mean, if he's saving porn on his phone, but yet so the porn that he's saving on his phone is arousing to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. And as she described it, it's just provocative photos. It's just porn stars.
No, because she caught him texting. Remember, she said he was saying something about releasing on her.
But okay, that's what I'm saying is he's messaging porn stars. He's looking at pornography, and that just sounds like, should be a minister of pornography. You're looking at porn and, looking at videos and photos and everything, saving them to your phone. And so first question is, if it's saved to his phone, how does she know about it? Is he willing to fork over his phone so that way she can go through it? Or is it something that she's rummaging through when he's not around?
No, it's
I mean, like that's a hole in the story that's a detail that we don't have. But regardless, I mean, if you're seeing what he's into and you're portraying yourself that way getting no response from it, that's another red flag. Just because, but not so much of a red flag because, being together for 4 years, things might be becoming stale or stagnant. you know, if he's used to seeing you, then it might just be a guy's brain where, you know, like, I want to see something else.
Well,
Doesn't
addressing the, sorry, not to cut you off, addressing the facet that allures him. So like you did say, it's alluring. What about it is alluring? Is it the fact that it's untangible? So should I be sending you more pictures in this man? But she's
well,
doing
fuck all
everything.
that.
Yeah.
The
Right,
pictures
because
that
he
wants
said,
her to
he
send
said,
him
send me
are of-
pictures of you
No.
torturing yourself. Like,
well, and that's what I
what?
wanted to, that's what I was trying to bring up is, so he's looking at the photos that he's looking at aren't of porn stars torturing themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So why is it a
You're right.
different, you know, why is it a different scenario where what the photos she has to send?
Right, exactly.
And so, I mean,
that's the
like I
piece.
said, this is kind of giving me the feeling that you're dealing with a,
Either lost or manipulative, one of the two.
yeah, you're dealing with someone manipulative, or I hate to say this just because, you know, somebody could say the same about me. I just have a little bit more to defend, and, you know, I have a repertoire of, you know, happy customers, but I think you're just dealing with a shitty dom.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you're dealing with a dom who is, you know, dealing more in manipulation than they are in the actual dominant role. You're dealing with a dom who gives other doms a very bad fucking name, and that's why I get very adamant. I get very attitudinal about these kinds of things.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
that's why the show's here.
Right.
this motherfucker's gonna sit at my table and claim this, but yet this is
your practice.
Yeah, this is your practice. Like, no, you either weren't instructed properly, you were poorly instructed, or you read 50 Shades of Grey, you had a convoluted mindset of what it's supposed to look like, and you're basically a fucking Moriarty.
Well,
you know?
and the problem that I'm having is that what he's pulling, as far as having a list of what she has to do to entice him, right? A list of what she has to do to get a very basic, guys, I really need anybody that's watching this right now. It's a very basic thing within a relationship. Sex is a part of it. So, I mean, here's the deal, like, relationships are work. If you don't want to have sex, then you need to just say that, you know what I'm saying? So that everybody's on the same page and everybody understands. But, or if you're uninterested, say that. Like, but this whole thing of like, you've got to meet this expectation, that to me was a red flag, because that's what I do to my subs. You have to meet this expectation if you want your reward.
So, I mean,
you're not a switch. You're being a dom and you're manipulating the situation.
And so the best way that I would kind of approach the situation, if I were to try and advise this individual, is, and it's going to sound really shitty, but maybe do a holdout for 2 or 3 months. The next time he wants to initiate sex, give him the same cold shoulder, have the same, you know, cold indifference about it as he gives you when you're trying to initiate.
But that was the piece of it. I sent everybody the full thing because she did say that we could read it. Okay. The SafeWord crew, she doesn't want her name mentioned. She doesn't want anything brought up. So, and she was like, can you cut some of the information just in case somebody's watching, you know? So I skimmed it down for her, but the information is there that, oh, I'm sorry. I just lost what we were talking about. Okay. So you had just said, what was the last thing that you said, Kane?
That if I was going to try to advise this individual to do a holdout.
Okay. Yes. So here's the deal with this piece of it, is that she has tried that. She has tried just being like, okay, well, I'm not getting it anyway, so I'm not going to initiate this. I'm not going to go after it, whatever. Right. That's fine. And then he's completely fine with that because he has his porn.
So it's like, okay, you like to look at one thing, but you like me in a certain way. And
right. So like how does
me...
she get around that? How does she and that's where I was lost on how to help her. I was like, can I bring this to my crew? Because here's the deal, like there's so many layers to this, and we literally could go into this all night and play devil's advocate. But on the whole of it all, and Kane, I see you making faces. I see it. So I'm about to kick it to you. But like on the whole of this, like if she's done the holdout thing, she's tried to see like where is it sitting? For me, it sounded like that movie. He's just not that into you. Like real talk. Like that's just where I was sitting, because with men, I don't care if you're a cis and that's how you identify. You still are on the chase as a man. You know what I'm saying? And you chase what you want, and what you don't want, you're just like me. You know, men are lazy. They're like me. whatever. You know, like that's not really what I want. I'll come back to that later if this thing over here that I want doesn't, you know, gravitate towards me. So, I mean, what do you think, Kay? Honestly, like we're like now having that bit of piece of information she has held out, and she's held out for a good 2 months, and no initiation from him whatsoever.
There was a portion they hadn't had sex in a while.
Yeah,
it had been a couple months before they had done it, so that's been addressed.
So it depends on what this person is looking for as far as advice goes. If this is not what you were looking for, I apologize, and hopefully you can get the answer that you are looking for. Probably not from me, but from my perspective, it sounds like a completely and totally unhealthy relationship.
Yeah.
And there's only one thing to do with an unhealthy relationship, and it's to, you know, cut your losses.
Yeah.
And that can be very difficult because you have spent 4 years together. You do have, there's a lot of emotional baggage that is associated with being in a relationship for that long. And it might be very difficult to, you know, move on from that. But I would also argue the point that, do you want to spend another 4 years in your current situation? I mean, if that's what it looks, if your last 4 years were any indication of what your future looks like together, really self-evaluate if that's something that you're willing to, you know, dedicate the rest of your life to, if that's a lifestyle that you're willing to be a part of, you know, throughout the rest of your youth.
Are you willing to be with someone who's unsure of themselves? Because it kind of sounds like it's deeper than just their sexual role or their carnal role. It's like they kind of don't know what they want.
Well, and like I said, I could play devil's advocate all night because I can see it from a dom's perspective, even if he's a dom's in sheep's clothing or he's claiming switch. Okay. If you're a switch, sometimes you don't, and we will get into this deeper. We've got a whole video on switches. But if you're new to switching, which it sounds like they both entered this relationship saying, hey, I'm a switch and let's try BDSM. Okay. So switches tend to be very confused if they don't do a lot of self-evaluation. Okay. And so from 1 minute to the next, they can switch at any time. But then that's the thing. You need to have clear communication in any relationship. I don't care if you're vanilla. Okay. You need clear communication. Relationships are built off of communication or they don't last. Like you've got to have some semblance of being able to communicate and communicate effectively.
That's a level of intimacy,
right? It really
intimacy.
Is. It's a level of connection. And so have you lost that? Like there are some holes that are missing in the story, but you know, really honestly, like this is where I sit with it. If you can't sit and communicate your feelings with him, really understanding where you come from. And it's not always about him, you know, because it sounds like she's tried to have conversations or tried to be something that she's not for this person, right? So if I'm going to then come and be completely vulnerable, let down the walls and tell you what I think and feel about this, and there's no response to it, or he doesn't want to have that kind of conversation, then you've got your answer right there. As hard as it may be, you've got your answer right there, because if you can't even communicate about it, how's there fixing? How can you fix it?
Well, and one of the other red flags that I feel like is worth mentioning, and I really wanted to give a guy's perspective on this, is
please do. Yes.
She mentioned that he has a certain certain mentality about his inability to make her orgasm.
Right. Yeah.
And for a guy, that can be a very, very, very daunting obstacle. You know, okay. Like if you, and again, like if you're a switch, if you're a true switch, then that is something that you're concerned about. And so if the lack of sex is associated with, you know, kind of like this beating himself up mentality of, well,
right,
you know, like, what are we really doing it for if you're not going to get anything out of it? Then maybe a conversation needs to be had that, you know, it's not so much, you know, like it's not, having an orgasm isn't as important as feeling the connection.
Right.
That could be a conversation that, you know, might be able to start and open these things up. Like, I don't just want to sit here and be like, oh yeah, break up with that motherfucker.
Well, yeah. And is there a connection anywhere else in your life? Is there intimacy anywhere else in your life? Yes, you're not getting sex, but is there intimate moments? I mean, is he showing you that he cares, you know?
Well, right. And even so, I mean, a a shithead will, show that he cares just enough to keep somebody, by his side, even if they don't necessarily. Again, I'm getting a very strong vibe from this individual just based on this post that it's not so much that you can't not be with this person. It's that this person doesn't want to see you with somebody else. It's not so much that he can't live without you, but he can't live knowing that you're happy somewhere else.
Right. If I can't have you, no one will.
Yeah. And so it's easier to keep you unsatisfied and unhappy with him than it is to go ahead and relinquish that control.
And that's coming from a dude, mama. That's coming from a
right.
dude.
And Kane's more privy to the psychological aspect of things.
Oh, I'm the
worst. And mentorship.
I am the worst fucking guy I'm the guy that other guys hate, because I will disclose full guy code. I will let you know what's bullshit.
This is why Kane's on the show.
Like, he's a guy and he's always a fucking guy or freaking guy. But when he's a dom, he's a good dom. And there's a sense of you switching into
there's morals there.
The worlds. Yeah.
I like to think of myself, I'm not a guy, I'm a gentleman.
There we go.
And so
I like it.
First and foremost, if you have this game, if you have this scheme, if it's something that you're into, then you better run that game fucking tight, because if I find out about it, I'm going to out your ass.
Yep.
So I honestly feel like this individual just doesn't want to see you happy anywhere else. Will do everything that they can to keep you there. And you're already kind of falling into some textbook Stockholm syndrome. And if you don't understand what that is, it's Beauty and the Beast. Belle ended up falling in love with the Beast, but if you really look at it, she was his captive.
Yep.
And that's what you are in this situation based upon the information that you provided. So I could be completely wrong, but I'm basing my opinion based on the information.
Right. Yeah.
You're a captive in that.
And that's all we can go off of, what she sent in and what she was willing to divulge and what she was willing to express is all we can go off of. We don't know what happens, mama, behind closed doors. So what happens behind closed doors, if there's those intimate moments, if there's real true connection and you feel it and you see it, then have a discussion first. If the discussion isn't there, you cannot communicate effectively, then I'd be evaluating what is your needs. Can you sit through this? Can you go another 4 years not communicating, not figuring out what it is that you need, and only giving to him, but yet you don't really understand what you have to give to him.
Right. Well, we've hit on some really good perspective. Kane said, if your partner's not doing the mental check-in, you should do the mental check-in and do the mental checklist. Are these boxes being checked? And are we really playing protocol to scene outside of our relationship? And Miss Aurora touched on, the intimacy aspect. If you're not willing to really dial in on, okay, how do you want to see me? And we've touched on that, and you don't want to see me or be seen, I'll round it out from a relationship aspect, because where I sit in it, he won't let you initiate. He won't, when he's confronted, he turns it back around on you. You're seeing him giving his desires to another thing that you're giving him, and he wants to see you degrade yourself, and that's not something established. That's not something in your intimacy.
Wasn't negotiated.
Correct. And it's not something touched on.
And really looking into that, and I don't mean to cut you off or anything.
No worries.
I know I can be long-winded, sorry. But I mean, another thing, there was this old rapper, right? And I say old, and somebody who's like listening to that shit right now will be like, mother. But his name was Devin the Dude. Okay. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
Yeah, no, I've heard of him. Mm-hmm.
But he had this one lyric that always resonated with me. It said, if you're messing around and you're for show woman, looking for more woman, you're going to end up with no woman.
No woman.
Right, exactly.
And he doesn't say woman. He says, something else.
Yeah.
But with that being said, and keeping that in mind, he can't ask these porn stars, degrade yourself for me. Okay, because he doesn't got it like that.
Right.
But rest assured, if he did, that's what would be happening. But who does he have like that? You, because he knows that you love him. He knows that you're committed. He knows that you're trying. And so he can make these requests of you. And correct me if I'm wrong, shoot me an email. You're facilitating these needs. You're facilitating these desires. And he's getting what he wants out of you with these manipulation tactics that he's not able to do elsewhere. So
Well, and here's something worth mentioning that was not in the thing, but she did say that I could mention it because I messaged her this morning. But one of the things that she mentioned was the fact that she's never taken a switch position ever. In all of her prior relationships, she has been the dominant one. She has been the one to say, we're doing this. This is how it's going down. This is where it's happening. No, look here, bitch, lay on the, like she's done degrading. She's done all that. And within her relationships, we're not talking a play scene. We're talking, this is somebody she's committed to, and she always takes the dominant role and goes into BDSM. She's experienced within BDSM at least a little bit.
Well, yeah,
I wouldn't say, she says she's new, but she's new because she's had like 2 other relationships where BDSM was involved. But even without BDSM being involved, she's still the dominant one. So this is the first time that she entered this relationship and was like, hey, I'd be willing to switch. And he was like, hey, I'd be willing to switch. But we don't have too much information on if he was a switch prior to, if he was a dom prior to, but we do know that she was. So this is out of her character. She is doing this because she cares about him.
Well,
he slipped into power, and that was allowed because from what I got, she relinquished power then, and it's been like a slower, like downward spiral of pulling more and more power out of the situation and a more of a degradation.
Seeing what he can get away with, honestly. Yeah.
It's just pulling like the dom out of you.
I see Kane's face, the eyebrow way. He can't do that. He can't do that involuntarily. That eyebrow was like, okay, what you got?
So something that just came to mind, and I won't give my full opinion on it because, like I said, we're not there. We don't know. But if you're watching, if you're viewing this, really try to evaluate and look back on when you admitted to being dominant, mostly dominant in your previous relationships. And if that conversation at any point took place prior to entering into the BDSM, lifestyle, then I would have to say that this guy is a trophy hunter, and you presented yourself as a dom who is now being subjected to being the role of a submissive. That's a trophy.
Yeah, it really is. It fucking is.
I got a dom that is my sub.
Right. Yeah. I got her to submit for me.
So let me address this point that she had. And at this point, and this is a real feeling, you have to sit within yourself. At this point, I feel concerned. I feel a bit manipulated,
that part,
and a lot bitter. And I don't know if this situation is normal in the world of BDSM. And I'm going to take it out of it in relationships. Is this normal? Or do I feel like you have all right
wrong for feeling off?
You're not wrong.
Right.
You're not wrong. If a situation in any aspect you haven't renegotiated, if anything outside of kink, BDSM, work, any type of situation, if you start to feel small, you start to feel degraded, you start to question your whole existence, maybe that's the time to walk away. Because it sounds like you're getting your dom spirit and your feminine energy pulled out of you in this situation from a relationship standpoint, and someone who's switched up. I'm a switch in the community. It sounds like someone is relishing in pulling the energy out of somebody.
That submissive piece out of you to see how well you will submit.
The relationship aspect is out of both aspects of like kink and a relationship. It's a power, like you said. It's a power, it's a pet situation. It's a captive kind of situation emotionally, what it sounds like. And you're not wrong for questioning that because you feel like an emotional captive.
Oh, someone's about to play devil's advocate. I see in this face.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I'm going to tap into my 29% daddy based on my BDSM test. And I'm going to say, sweetheart, there is somebody out there that will treat you like the queen that you fucking are.
Yes. Wait, say that again. Hold on. I need him to repeat that. And everybody needs to be quiet. Hold on.
I said, sweetheart, there is somebody out there that will treat you like the queen that you fucking are. And this is not for you. This is a completely manipulative. I could be wrong. There could be a lot more details that we're missing. But like I said, based upon the information you gave, I'm going to say that you deserve much better. Feeling cornered, feeling depressed, feeling manipulated in a relationship is no way to feel on a daily basis, no way to move in what should be a very loving, very comfortable, very secure area
Very
of your life.
communicative.
Right. We're addressing kink and BDSM because this was your question that you asked, but outside of that, in relationships as well, because Aurora's intimacy, Kane is more the psychological. From a relationship standpoint, like, no.
And does this motherfucker live in Arizona?
Man, I just want to give you a hug, but no,
Right, for real,
your
it does.
thoughts and feelings are valid, and we hear you. And to see you, no, you shouldn't feel that way.
No, you shouldn't feel that way ever. For you to have this feeling of you're being manipulated, you're depressed, and you're a lot bitter. Those were your words. Manipulated, depressed, a lot bitter. You answered your own question.
If you feel pitted by that interaction afterwards, and pitted means like, don't nobody like being walked away from after the situation and just here, wipe yourself up.
Right. I'm going to work. See you later. Like,
even in the basic of vanilla of relationships, there's some sort of coddling, relishing in, your connection.
Even if somebody has to rush off to work, it's like, yo, you good? Here, wait, let me get you a towel. Like, let me help you up. Let me put your slippers back on. Something.
Yes. The smallest thing is cleaning up their scene. If you were their scene, just wiping it up, and that's the smallest of aftercare.
Yeah, because if somebody's got to go, they got to go. But at least they're showing, hey, I do care. I have to go.
And if no levels of aftercare are being hit, there's no respect for the relationship at all, kink or vanilla.
It makes me wonder, did you guys have negotiations before this? Because prior to, if you guys both entered as switches, that needed to be, mama, look at me, that needed to be communicated.
What does your dom look like?
So yeah, right. There needed to be a safe word like, hey, I'm switching into sub role now. Hey, I'm going to say pet. Now I'm sub.
And
you know
even deeper,
something.
And even deeper, if that person is feeling more submissive, then I'm switching into sub and I want you to dom me more in the situation, or I'm feeling more dominant and I'm feeling more sadomasochistic. It's like there's no sense of like touching base on any of that. So that's a disacknowledging any type of protocol and scene.
Right.
Well, not only that, but what dom or switch or sub or anybody in their right mind starts a play scene so close to having to go to work? Who initiated?
You're not setting your scene appropriately.
No, if you because I printed this out for everybody. So if you read the story, it's like the last the one. So the more information was about like every sexual experience that she'd had once a month. Okay, when they used to have sex a lot, once a month, it's down to once a month, and it's vanilla sex, right? And she's just confused because, hey, we're both into BDSM, we're both into this kinky shit, and you're not reciprocating. Okay. And so she had one experience within the last couple months that was not vanilla, but then it took a turn because he had to go to work. Like, if you're going to enter a play scene, make time for that fucking play scene for aftercare.
Yeah, we had our first dom-sub interaction in a long time. He acted without much care for my mental state before or after. It sounds like the scene was just, I'm going to be dom, I'm going to take this over. And that wasn't even negotiated, or it was briefly like, I'm taking over.
Right. And this was one point that I did want to add to it, because like I said, I checked with her this morning. I said, what can I say? What can I not say? What do you not want out there? But as far as she was concerned, like, one of the things that she was really worried about was the fact that, like, okay, she's maybe had sex once a month, right? And every time it's been vanilla, but the vanilla sex that she described to all of us within this email, okay, is that he literally, it's like uninterest, and they're going to bed, and then all of a sudden and so he rolls over on top of her, and rolls back over and goes to sleep. Those have been her once a month.
Okay, so you're being used, and honestly, like the more information that and the more I hear it, I mean, because I've read this, and just hearing you ladies like bring up these key points, it's just like, okay, this dude is a master manipulator. He doesn't care if he's treating you like a gobshite.
We care.
I mean,
no, like for real,
I'd honestly look for more information. Like, if you tell me he hangs out with his boys a lot too, then
Which
I'm
he
gonna find
doesn't.
this
He's
motherfucker.
always home. That's one of the things that we got. Like, is that he's always home. Like, it's not like he's going out finding other things. The only thing that she can figure out is that he's into porn stars and porn and saves pictures and all these. Like, he's just got a collection of porn. And all the time, like, they'll be sitting down at dinner and he's in his phone and he's saving pictures and
God, I hope Gianna
videos.
Michaels whoops his ass.
I was like, wow. I like at dinner. She's like, at dinner, I will make
He's
a full
just-
dinner and try and make it candlelit, make it romantic. And then all of a sudden it's like he's
Emotional
in his phone.
manipulation.
So I don't know. Like, does he want me to be more like those girls? I've tried. And then like, you know, he shoots me down. So what do I do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And I hate to tell somebody to end their relationship. So my suggestion is try to say, hey, checkout time, pause, break, pause, pet, safe word, pause. We need to come to the table. You sit on one side, I'll sit on the other. Let's both meet midway where we can.
right.
And I'm going to tell you how I feel. Okay. If you need to use a talking stick, do it. Get some kind of, here you go. I'm holding the talking stick now. I'm going to tell you how I feel. When I'm done, I'm going to pass it to you. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to reiterate to me what I said so I know you heard me. It's not a manipulation tactic. It's so everyone feels heard. You sit there and you go, okay. And that person doesn't have to put it in your words. They can say, okay, so what I heard is that you're feeling hurt because you came into the room in 6-inch stilettos and I said, move because my game's on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, nice, babe. Great. Okay, so now let me address how I feel because I have the talking stick. If you have to take it to that level, but you should just be able to sit down and talk to your partner, meet at the table, say your feelings, be able to get them out on the table, have him listen and reciprocate, and then him, because that's BDSM. Like, that's what I love about this community is that you can sit down and talk to somebody. If they fucked up, they're like, oh, I really did mess that up. Okay, let me learn from this, but I don't know. It's a complex thing. So if you cannot have that communication basis, then yeah, I would say figure out what it is that you want and then follow those desires. Because if what you're being shown is not what you want, then why are you there?
So I'm going to take this opportunity because I know you ladies have finished your glasses and I know what happens when ladies finish their glasses because I also have finished my glass and I think we should start wrapping this up because I know all of us got to go.
Yes.
So, with that being said, I hope that we gave you some insight. We hope that we were helpful. I hope that, you're able to find some resolution to this. It's very much appreciated that you would message us, that you would ask for our advice,
yes, we love you.
our opinions.
Yes.
So need you to know that it means the world to us that you came to us because that's what
we're here for.
That's what we're here for, and that's what we like to do. So
we appreciate you. We love you building this community so you guys can ask and get clarity and understanding.
Right. And I just really want to personally thank her for letting me bring this to the team because
Your
really,
bravery.
honestly, really, it's brave.
Yeah.
And I told you I'd leave everything out of it, but I said, look, let me bring it to the team. Let me get one more opinion on this than just me, because it's very thick. But go ahead, Kane.
honestly, we'd really like to stay in touch with you, stay in contact just to see, not because we want the gossip of it, not because we are trying to be nosy, but we just want to make sure that you're okay. So please send us a message. Let us know what happens. Let us know if everything worked itself out. Let us know, just what's going on. So that way we can sleep better at night knowing that you are okay. But with that being said, that is it for us tonight on YouTube. We're going to take a short intermission and then we will be going live on Patreon. So if you haven't already subscribed there, so you can catch the second half of possibly this conversation and some interesting stuff that we're going to be bringing to our Patreon just to entertain you guys for, the rest of your Friday. We love you guys. We do. It's why we do what we do. It's why we've been on here for the past 2.5 hours discussing, everything that's been going on.
We care. We care. We're not
ride.
rushing you through it. We care. Bring it. We love your guys' questions and we want to give you our feedback.
Yeah.
So you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy your Friday. Go out, get into some trouble. Don't get caught. And if you do, don't tell them I told you so. Love you guys. Take care. Stay safe. Stay